Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? Welcome to the final day. We're about to get started and get ready. Yesterday was an absolute blast, and I hope, well, for those who missed it, we're going to be going through sort of a recap pretty soon. Of course, Priest and Crowns will take you through all of that, but it was quite a day. But regardless, let's take a look at that prize pool, that juicy prize pool. The first position is going to be going home with 200,000, and we will know at the end of today's games pretty soon. Okay, we're gonna once we go through the game. Second is going to be taking home 150,000, and third with 100,000. The MVP of the night, which is looking very likely to be some Mister, you know, Ama, is going to be going home with 50,000. But we'll see. We'll see if that is what it is at the end of the day. Now, if you're not sure about how the point system is when it comes to the placement, it is 10 points going to first place. Of course, the team who gets the chicken dinner, and second place takes home six. Third takes five. Fourth takes four. Fifth takes 3 points, sixth takes two, and seventh and eighth take 1 point each. Of course, for every single kill, you get 1 point. Between ninth and 18th, nothing for you. All right. So yeah, yesterday was an absolute blast, and of course, we saw an early resurgence from 14th, getting the chicken dinner and trying as much as possible to see if they can get a second one. But there was a spoiler coming through from the boys from AE. Of course, AE moved themselves all the way to ninth position. They had some of the best games yesterday in that second game. Okay. But regardless of all of that motion, XTC came back with a bang, getting two chicken dinners in the third and the fourth game. Now, just when we thought it was over, 3C also decided to put up a massive performance and take themselves above that 100 mark. So the question is today, will we be seeing an amazing game coming through from the second, third, or maybe even tribe? Or will Ecstasy cement their position? But regardless, first of all, let's take a look at that MVP spot. Like I mentioned earlier on when we were looking at the prize pool, that man Amazinho is leading the charge with about 19 kills or 19 eliminations to his name. He's got a KD of 4.2, and he's clearly being the main man for XTC and leading and basically leading the line. But you cannot rule out other players too as well. There's Peachy, there's from 14 Gaming 94K, and there's of course Quilla, who are absolutely blowing the way into that top five. Cloud is also in the mix of things too as well, and respectively they've got 21 and 20 kills. So today is going to be the D day. The many people who are vying for that number one spot, although 19 kills, he would have to have an extreme bad game, and one of these guys is probably gonna have to blow our minds. Okay, so let's see how that goes. If they have 5 kills each, maybe they could get, at the end of the 5 games, maybe one of them gets 25 kills, and somehow by some miracle, because at this point it's a miracle, Amazino gets none. But that is unlikely. Okay, so what maps are we going to be starting with today? We're going to start with Miramar, and then we will move to Erangel, and after that we're going to get to the chaos of Sanhok, back to Miramar, and then we're going to round things up in Erangel. All right, now so we'll be moving straight on to Priest and Crowns, and they'll take us through what they think about how today's games go.
Today, I would not be muted. It is the final day of the NPL Season 8 Harmattan splits. I'm here, Crowns, as Fire has said, and accompanied by that man rocking the NPL march is none other but Priest. How are you doing today?
Ooh, it's been a very interesting final. I'm doing good. I hope you're doing good as well. I hope all of you in the comment section are doing good as well. Crowns, we have a banger today, the last day of the finals, the last day for anybody to pull any Hail Marys. It is going to be their last chance. Have they learned from day one? If they didn't learn from day one, did they learn from day two? And today we're going to find out if anybody learned anything. And I'm super excited. I want to see, is that going to be a spoiler? Is that going to be something different? All eyes will be on those teams that are trying to change things up.
Definitely, and change things up is what we'll be looking forward to for some things, for some teams, and also for the other hand of things, is going to just be how well some teams can maintain. But we do know all eyes is going to be on none other but three teams, or maybe four teams right now in the lobby. It's going to be none other but Three Crown, 14th Gaming, Tribe Warriors, and Four Portions. Any one of these four teams, which one of them do you think is going to finally clinch that second spot and
Wait a
hold that?
minute. You didn't mention ecstasy. Yeah, I don't understand. Why didn't you
I
mention
said,
ecstasy?
which one of them do you think is going to be good for second position? Like, is there still
What
a
you
point?
mean? What you mean second position? I mean the first place to second place is just like 30 points if I'm not mistaken. That is achievable though for three county sports. Like you know that at some point yesterday we had a 56-point deficit, but we didn't end the day like that. You know, I mean, we saw a leaderboard. It's not that crazy. It's
The
really not.
question,
I still believe that it's not going to be that crazy. I know how this sounds. I know it
unless
sounds delusional.
it's going to take a repeat of yesterday's Erangel game today from for the entirety of today from 10-11 ecstasy, or if at all we're going to see them actually lose that lead, or maybe even reduce the gap between themselves and second position. But nonetheless, because I'm one person that I would say some things are intentional, and looking at the way 10-11 ecstasy played the first four games, you can tell that it was a different attitude that he brought into that final game of yesterday. Because I mean, we're not seeing 10-11 take a fight like that on a good day. So going into today, a part of me, the part that was on the hate watch, was like, you know what? I actually wanted 11 to bring that same attitude, the attitude of, oh my God, we have such a great lead. We can play anyhow we want to play. Let them bring it in today. So maybe we might get time for a new champion. No, Chris?
Time for a new champion. You know, funny thing, we've been using that phrase for like since 2021. We've been using that phrase, man. You understand? But in all honesty, I'm expecting something different today. You know, the leaderboard has given us a little bit of a vibe here. We're missing two teams already. Oh, some people have already started to give up. It was unfortunate. Some people have already started to give up. That is unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's all you know. You gotta be strong mentally, to turn things around for yourself and your team. But all eyes are going to be on those top teams. Yesterday, we saw how the game started in Erangel. We saw a little bit of Miramar action in there as well. And I think it was in Miramar that Three Crown Esports and Ecstasy got into it, and Three Crown Esports eliminated them. Do you think there's a possibility that it could happen in this Miramar again?
Nah, I don't think that's gonna happen. I feel like for the first game of today, it's gonna be a little bit chaotic in terms of like everyone's and it's only 40 that of dice. How you're going to have a lot of space, and it's just going to be how well they're going to be able to work with the space and not get overwhelmed, because at this point it might be relatively harder to get some information as well.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of confusion for me because I was expecting, the game to kick off very slow, steady, quiet, but it looks like Tribe Warriors, and I think I'm not sure what other team that was in the area, but it looks like there could be a chance for something to break out here. But I will be keeping my eyes peeled as it stands right now because the group has already started to send the shots in. Got the first drop, and I think he's against the guys from Dark. Tribe Warriors hitting the ground running, chasing down the likes of 14th Gaming and Three Crown Esports. They're not too far out. This could be a big change for them still going forwards, but we'll keep our eyes peeled regardless. But Dark are getting the they are getting the other end of the stick rounds.
Yeah, and this is what is very surprising about Dark Knights. This is something we saw a lot yesterday, where and I've noticed this in some of those teams that happen to be on the bottom of the table, and maybe even some teams at the top. I It's that failure or that little communication issue that you can just see, because it's like, how do you have one of your player knocked? You already have a QBZ in hand, and you're still looting. You know, And I'm looking at Rizzo while I'm saying this because that 77 was not a long time ago, and Blood was still just out here looting, And then eventually, when he finally makes up his mind to try to form up on his teammates, there's already three players down. Now you have no choice but to try to survive as a solo until the end of the game. And which is why I was saying yesterday, like, I can't really say it's a thing of how their play style or anything. It's just a case of you're just seeing that lack of communication or lack of game awareness coming in through from some of these players and some of the teams too.
Ye- Yeah, you're right. I mean, communication is key. Awareness is equally key. Dark have just been really struggling, and it's just been unfortunate for them. But hopefully, they will find their foot at least in one of these games. You saw how they played in the Super Weekend, and in the survival stages, they did turn up. I saw the potential for how well they could play, but again, it still really boils down to how much you want it, how well you want to perform. Remember, all of these points they tie into the grand finals. There are some teams that are not inside of this finals, but there's still a chance for them to get into the finals of the rain split. And if they outperform, a team like Dark, a team like Unsolid Army, Ragnar, Athlete Game, Vanguard, these guys, if they do get outperformed in the other split, it is going to be very,
Mhm,
very difficult for them to, make it into the grand finals, because that is the goal at the end of the day. You have to
mhm.
put a really, really solid performance out in the finals, because that is where your journey into the grand finals really starts from.
Definitely, every point that you gather at this point definitely goes in some way, somehow, not even some way, somehow. It does matter in those grand final points. And in case you're wondering why we're emphasizing the grand final points that much, it is because the grand finals is going to be a LAN event. So you want to make sure that you are not missing out, or your squad isn't missing out either on any of that action. Speaking of action, we've not really gotten time to speak about the circle because just a small chaos here and there. We just had to get distracted. But with respect to the circle, it does look like one of those nicer Miramar circles, looking like the brown part of Miramar as well. Nothing too crazy. We only have like two, three, four teams in the zone at the moment. But as I said, this is one of those Miramar games where there will be a lot of space.
Yeah, you're right. There's a big chance for space to hold for most of these teams. Again, Hashi Sports trying to make quick work of the guys from Ragnar. They are getting their numbers back up. Noruka, I believe he was the one that's trying to get Proteus picked back up, and he does succeed. But unfortunately, it's not going to work out as he tried to turn things around. But unfortunately, he will be losing out. That will be two players from Ragnar going all the way down. 419 from Harsh as well, and that will be down to three. And I think Ragnar just having the worst start inside of this final. I mean, I didn't expect them to perform to a certain degree. They did. I believe their best performance for me was in the playoffs. They had an amazing
Mhm,
performance in the playoffs. I just think the game just kind of got away from them. And speaking of getting away from them, Athlete Game, they've given away their position, because I'm pretty sure Afro Esports were not aware that Athlete Game was here. So I think
mhm.
they've just been moving around, patting their feet, and they've been spotted. But now they finally decided to give away their position. The onslaught continues, and it doesn't look like that's going to yield much. SWAT tries to trade him off, but Mando again will get the drop on him, and that will be a backslide. And Afro Esports are looking for a way through and trying to rear end the guys from Athlete Game right now.
I mean, if they did get the idea that there were two of them, they might be able to go for a little bit of an isolated play. And I think that's what is coming through here with Dax currently seeming to be in what looks to be a 1v2 at the moment. And you might want to recover or get more numbers as he's going to get that instant thirst as well. Dax trying to see if he can hold down the fort. No DBS in hand, but he's going to fall to the UMP. SWAT in the background, going to have to get revived. There is a little bit of a cover fire coming in through from Neo, but Athlete Gaming now, they have to get their own reset as well. Make this back a 3v3.
Yeah, they need to even the playing field right now. But I wasn't even expecting them to lose any players. Honestly,
Mhm.
ADK with the M249 sends a couple shots. Dago takes a hit, and he will think twice again. ADK gets the drop on SWAT. That's a good play from him. He's trying to get his HP back up. And now Dago is going to be caught between a rock and a hard place now. Does he want to make the push on ADK? or does he want to go back for the reset? Every decision going forward now is going to matter. At the game are back up to 3, and ADK might be spotted here. The grenade is in hand, and it might be getting
Hmm.
lodged in. He misses that one. It does connect, and that is the opening they've been waiting for. They will not be circling back, and ADK will be getting flushed.
And this is where I was about to ask: is Athlete Gaming, are they counting? Because right now you've gotten 2 knocks, right? You've gotten one full thirst up. You know there is a player behind you, which means the last 2 players are isolated. So get all 3 players to form up on either ADK, or get ADK to form up on the rest and push, as compared to leaving ADK all alone. And well, I guess they find out the hard way. Like, if you're not counting in the game of PUBG Mobile, especially in fights, you would start to lose out, because right now players there from Athlete Gaming now find themselves at the numbers disadvantage.
Yeah, they've absolutely been outnumbered. I really thought that they were going to back ADK up after he got that first drop. And I think it's one of the things that we talk about before. Offensive positions and defensive positions. Athlete game, they didn't capitalize on the fact that they had the numbers advantage at some point. When ADK got that drop, they didn't, apply the pressure when they had that advantage a little bit. They were focused on the pickup. If they were focused on the pickup and ADK just didn't get the go ahead from the rest of his teammates to make the advance, then he should have held his position. He still advanced forward without the backup of his teammates. And I think that is why he suffered the consequences of his teammates not backing him up, because I really think that that's just what happened there. His teammates were not ready for that play. He did get the drop, but his teammates weren't in the position to help. And I think he should have just dialed it back a little bit, repositioned, because when you knock a team, that gives you a breathing room to, think about your next options. Like I said, offensive position, defensive position. What do you guys want to do? But they didn't have a plan. Somebody was getting picked up. That was great, but it didn't yield anything. Afro Esports, they didn't go for the pickup. He did get the drop, but they didn't go for
Mm-hmm.
the reset. Instead, he held his position, waited for ADK to fall for the bait, and he did. No backing from his teammate, and he got flushed immediately.
Exactly. You're trying to get your numbers up in one point, and which is why I'm surprised as to how ADK played that one, because it's like, all right, now you've gotten the first knock. Whatever is making you stay there is like, oh, I just got a knock here. There's still another guy with him. I'm trying to stay close so he doesn't get a revive. Okay, no problem. Now they've gotten the resets. The people getting the reset as well. Someone knocked us from here. It's one of those cases where it's like, there's 2 of you there already. Let me just come up and meet you people. So you guys take that. We take it as a 3v1, and then we come back again. Even if these people revive whoever I just knocked, it's still a 3v2. But anyway, different strokes for different folks. We'll keep moving. We've already lost 2 teams earlier, which even makes this game even more open, because it's like we're missing 2 teams, and now we've already lost 2 extra teams. So, and this is just zone 2. We already have 12 teams alive. This is not the same pattern that we saw yesterday, but I'm hoping this is just because of the first game.
Yeah, I'm hoping as well, because it's very difficult to, have a strategy for these types of games where you're missing 2 teams and then 2 teams mysteriously, go out of the game earlier than expected. It is still phase 2 of the circle. I'm looking for what the play zone is going to say going forward, because the likes of Three Crown Esports and Ecstasy, they're still on their rotations. They're still setting up shop. They've not necessarily started to look out for each other, but I think it's now is the time for those rotations to start coming in. You can see Afro Esports, Arab T, with the same idea. They are setting back. I think they are in a where are they right now? Because that looks like what, Minas del
Yeah.
Sur? Is that where they are?
Minas de Okay, no, this is Minas de Valley actually, or Cruz de Valley actually. But this is
Oh,
one of the reasons why I don't like the brown parts of Miramar. I keep saying this is one of my least favorite parts of Miramar. I don't really like this brown part of Miramar, but hey, that is where the zone does seem to be pushing us to. I rarely see zones that come to this part, so I'm looking at the side of Vanguard and RT Sports with respect to their positioning at the perimeter. It does look like both teams are contesting for the same spot,
oh,
with Gungun getting uprooted by that gun coming through from Vanguard Esports. And now this is where I want to see that pressure come through from Vanguard. And you see, this is the attitude. Like, you've gotten one knock. Everybody's still standing in one place. Like, move, pressure.
yeah, But again, it's really it really still boils down to the same thing that we said: defensive positions and offensive positions. Vanguard do not want to take an offensive position because they have lost a player. They are still outnumbered. Yes, they have a knock, but they are still outnumbered. In theory, they are still outnumbered. Yes, they've gotten a knock, but they are still outnumbered. They cannot play out of this position. They want to play defensively. They want, Arab T to be the ones coming into their position. I think
Mm.
they are ready to receive Arab T. I don't think they want to, make the advance here because this area is too open. I think it's more of a tactical thing for Vanguard Esports right now. If they were, I think if they were for, I think they would have come outside to play a little bit more. But I mean, take a look. They're surrounded in this entire south and southwestern, southeastern area. I don't think they can make any plays here that would benefit any of them because they're just too spread thin. But again, if they can isolate one player from Arab T, it could work. It could work, but I don't see it happening. I think this engagement is going to take a little bit too long unless, the guys from Arab T find a way to breach inside of this compound.
Yeah, and I feel like for Vanguard, which is what is surprising me, because it's like at this point, the only reason why RT Sports will push into your building is if they've gotten one knock. And the only thing that means is that if you've lost one player, you're down to two. It's now a 2v4, as compared to when you can isolate and take the team, push. Like, I'm all for the isolate the play and sweep. We saw that come through from 14th Gaming yesterday in the map of Sanhok, where we saw them all just pushing in a situation where they could have held angles, but rather than hold angles, they just went, let us go push this person, we push this person till we get all the entire wipe. But it looks like RT will not be waiting until they get that first knock to make that advance into the compound. They really want it, and it's going to be a grenade from Ape onto Creed. And now they have the memo. RT, what is your move? We see Rodo in the vehicle. What is the decision coming through from the team here?
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, Vanguard, they were ready to receive Arab T. They were set to receive them. And now Afro Esports have put up into the mix. This is exactly what Vanguard were avoiding, the third parties. This is exactly what they didn't want. This now Afro Esports will pull up to the scene. Arab T in trouble. Rodo is going to get called out if he's not careful. If he doesn't get out of here quickly, and this is exactly why Vanguard Esports didn't want to come outside. This was the risk that I knew that they didn't want to take because of this exact reason. Creed is going to be the Lamb of God. He has been sacrificed. He will not be getting picked up. Vanguard will take one for one. And I think that they made the right call here because they just didn't have enough information to make that push. Abe goes for the
I
trade, one for one. And that is exactly the play. It works.
I still don't agree with it. They could have completed that fight before, way before Afro Esports even made their entrance into the scene, or even four portions. Unless they now get all the wipe and then now stay up there and continue looting. I still think it's something that they could have done, cleared out the side of RT Sports, because I'm not gonna lie, these RT Sports, they're not looking like a team that is gonna hold too much water in terms of standing before against Vanguard. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like the only reason why Vanguard did not push on that is because of the player that they've lost. They're down by Artist, who happens to be one of the strongest players that we've seen on that squad. So of course, when you're using one of your strongest player, confidence to push up onto a team or onto like a knock might not be as much
Oh,
as when that player is available.
yeah, that Irish potato was diabolical from
Hmm.
Tribe Warriors group getting tossed away there. That was a very, very incendiary from him. And I think that puts them in a very tough spot. But, we saw earlier, Four Portions will also be another team that third parties this. They will get a piece of this. Again, we've seen how dangerous this can get. Neon Rising also getting a piece of the action as well. Tribe will lose one. Artichoke circling back. He's been spotted. The bullets flying all over the place. And fortunately for Arab T, they will find a way through and nestle themselves inside of that build compound. But it looks like Neon Rising will trade off again. Neo trying to get a drop on them, and Afro Esports could be in a world of hurt right now. The smoke's already coming through. There's a lot of bodies in the area. They need to wrap this up, and they need to wrap it up quick. More pain up onto the high ground into that position. He has been knocked away, but he has to be careful that he doesn't drive himself into the Molotov cocktail of his teammate. Neo, the last one left for Afro Esports, but it's too difficult. It's a very difficult position he's found himself in. Don't see him making much out of this. Swartz can only give information at the longest right there, but Steez will continue to mount the pressure for Neon Rising right now.
Take another high ground, young man Neo. But anyway, this is not the first time we've actually seen Neo against this exact team pull off a
Whoa.
clutch moment, if you remember, in the playoffs. But anyway, Neon Rising will lose one more, but they're able to grab that revive. This is where the numbers advantage comes through. And Neo, on the other hand, doesn't have that much utils to work with, as Neon Rising will continue to grab that. Grab those revives there. Now the question is, what does Neo want to do? He does look to fall back a little bit, looking to get his HP back up, but this is getting trickier and trickier, and the zone is not making things easier at all.
Yeah, that zone is very unforgiving. I think I saw Solid Army get a piece of the action as well. That's a good grenade over to that wing of the window, but Amari is trying to get it locked in. Doesn't look like it's going to work. It was Crusader that got the drop on him, and Hashi Sports are going to think about this one. I see that this is a big chance for Hashi Sports to turn things around, though. Somebody might be getting knocked away here if they do hang around that window a little bit too long. For Three Crown Esports, we saw them just hanging around on that top draw. Amari
Now
gets
they
the
know.
drop on him, closes this one out. Hashi Sports in serious trouble. 4-1-1 gets knocked away. Crusader looking for a way through. The first drop is good, and Hashi Sports are down to just one player left. General tries to peek out to the
Stop it.
corner, but his spray is no match for that of Crusader, and the Crusade will go on.
Crusader with 2 eliminations for the team there, 10-11. Ecstasy getting themselves 3 eliminations to get things started, and you can already tell that they're already starting on a very good foot. Now the question is for everybody else in the lobby. Once again, I still ask that same question. Three Crown Esports have been quite quiet. We kind of see them play that relatively slower game on the map of Miramar, where we see them rotate for the majority of the time, and then going into the later phases of the game, you start to see them get into those fights. So Three Crown Esports with 0 eliminations will still keep our minds at rest.
Yeah, I mean, 4 portions with the idea here. You can see the idea ball coming through from Peachy. Trade off again, but DYDX will get the drop on him immediately as
Correct.
well as he sacrifices himself for that clutch. Layla as well spotted by Skinny. A good drop, but Monkey will trade off for Vanguard Esports. There's a lot of chaos happening inside of this area. There's too much information getting lost. Skinny pulls up to the scene. He wants to wrap this up. Beautiful
Nice.
rotation. 4864 will be dispatched immediately there, and Gokada will not be saving him this time around. Skinny going for the clutch, and inside of the drop there on the other side, he turned his back to the opposition and immediately will be getting punished by Layla. Unsullied Army will still use that advantage that they have, the numbers advantage. It works every single time. All you have to do is push one person out, the bait, and the switch.
Yeah, that was actually unfortunate from the side there of 4 portions. The information was not completely there, and the rest of his teammates were not there for support as well. It was definitely just the one player left, but unfortunately, after getting that thirst, he didn't seem to know where the remainder of those players are. But nonetheless, they would go out. But this is one very, very heavy fight that Three Crown Esports really need to lock in order to take, as they are up against the side of Ecstasy, who happen to have the high ground advantage.
Yeah, that high ground advantage is what you need. It is really what you need. 24K gets the drop on one of the guys from Vanguard Esports. I think it was Ape. Getting sent back into the lobby. A good trade-off there. Monkey sends a couple shots as well. And Master Uguay is the only one that has secured some eliminations for 14th Gaming. 98K took a lot of blows to the chest there, but will recover. Gets his HP back up. Now 419 spotted immediately by Master Uguay. He will be dropped to his knees and sent back into the lobby with the quickness. And 14th Gaming, once again, have started to rev up the engines. They just surpassed the guys from Tribe on the leaderboard. They just moved a couple of inches on top. Again, Unsullied Army get dispatched. Three Crown Esports will follow suit. Trouble for Three Crown Esports. This is exactly what we said. Will they turn up today? They did not turn up. They're already starting to lose numbers. Danny Brown peeks out. He's going to be getting dropped off immediately. Nexus had to think twice about that one. It didn't work. Cloud will be the last one left for Three Crown Esports once again.
14th Gaming are going to be smiling at the elimination feed right now. Cloud, the last player left to hold on the fort for 3 Crown Esports. We saw him pull up a 1v4 against the side of Neon Esports yesterday, Neon Rising. The question is, can he replicate the same with 10-11 Ecstasy? I mean, he has to, if anything. But 4 portions go out. A little bit of a sigh of relief there, breath of relief for the side there of 14th Gaming and Tribe, who still happen to be alive and still well in the circle in this game as the time goes by. But anyway, Zone does seem to move up a bit. Tribe Warriors do have a very solid position. Unfortunately, they do not have the numbers, and I think Cloud must have been spotted there. Oop, if he doesn't, it's gonna go. Gonna go for it. Danny Brown's gonna
Ooh.
get uprooted there. 10-11 Ecstasy lose one, but there's still three more. And you do know they are not happy about this one. Cloud has gotten that first elimination, and it's like 10-11. Are you angry enough? Do you want to go for this one? Shots from behind. Cloud is gonna get into cover.
Oh, Crusaders coming for it. Or is he going to commit? I don't think he's going to commit. They are in a bad spot, but this decision could be the reason they make it into the zone or not. I think they are going to prioritize the zone. This is not worth it. It is going to hurt them in the long run. It could stop them from getting a chicken dinner. Good and unfortunate trade-off there. Mark trying to make it wrap in, but they will again get the angle. Artichoke from Arab T will send a couple more shots to deal more damage. Crusader will take a hit. He goes down to the zone, and as expected, that was the decision that would hurt the guys from Ecstasy. They will trade off again. Beautiful, but they do go out without a chicken dinner, opening the floodgates once again. That gap at the top, it is not extended by that much of a margin. Cloud hops into his vehicle and finds his way into the zone somehow. 3 Crown Esports will still survive.
But that gap is nowhere near closed. I mean, 10-11 exited this game with 7 eliminations. If you're going to add 2 more points to that, that's almost 10 points. That's about 9 points that are going to get away from this game. Or if anything, even if it is 8, they're still increasing a 31 point lead from what doesn't look like would be much from the side of 3 Crown Esports, even though Cloud has been stealing a couple of eliminations. But I think this is going to be Tribe Warriors to really show us how well they can open out as a 2-man squad, because they've got the entirety of 14th Gaming pushing up very close to them. A beautiful grenade up onto 98k would not connect. Kiss is down. And Touch Me, the last player left to hold down the fort, but gets overwhelmed by the numbers. 14th Gaming are alive and they are active.
Too active, very active. The 14th Gaming, they're doing everything right. They've got all their numbers. Everything is working out in their favor. Neo sent a couple of grenades over to that little corner, but that pocket of space has been occupied. 14th Gaming have the entire area on lock. I think they have spotted Neo as well. So he's going to think long and hard about his next couple of moves. But let's not forget, Cloud is still very much alive here. He has done a remarkable job keeping 3 Crown Esports still in it here. This could still go any ways, but he has been spotted finally by 98k, and that will be him bowing out in 4th place. But he did put in an amazing performance. Neo was also spotted, and a couple of shots will be sent his way. Neon Rising now circling back, trying to make their way through. More pain, spotted by Villain, will be knocked away down the hillside. Again, this is unfortunate for them, but fortunately, they do have the play zone in a little bit in their favor. But 14th Gaming will have to think twice about what rotation they want to make going down this hillside, as more pain will be swept away by the Villain.
Neon Rising played this one a little bit passively. I was going to mention, like, regardless with the position Neon Rising has, they have to make sure that 14th Gaming doesn't spot them first. But unfortunately, that has already happened. So 14th Gaming already have an idea as to where that team is. But Neon Rising trying to play this one very slowly, they do find themselves at a disadvantage with respect to height. So it's a case of Neo is waiting for Neon Rising to play distraction, and Neon Rising is waiting for Neo to play distraction for them, and they would have to just wait until maybe Neo miraculously gets a knock, or the side there of Neon Rising are able to get 2 knocks to get things started.
Yeah, I mean, it's a battle of who is going to distract who first. Neo could do something here, but no, he will not be doing much of anything. He will be sent back into the lobby by Master Ugwe. And 14th Gaming are riding the wave right now. Everything is falling into their favor. The zone, they have it. You just got to make a couple of inches of rotation, and they will get the angles right. But more chicks and more knacks. If they turn this around, I would be impressed. But 98k already on the ground. They trade off again. He has been spotted, and he makes the advance. He gets dropped immediately there. 98k has to be careful. Pops him over to the top side. Will go for the clutch immediately as well. Calls it to the corner. Tries to go for the DBS clutch. Unfortunately, it will not be the case. S12k to the rescue. And 14th Gaming will snatch up that chicken dinner.
First chicken dinner of the day going over to the side of 14th Gaming. Completed it as an entire squad as well. You could tell that they came out here to play and they are heading for that second position. I believe that should be enough to allow them overtake the side of 3 Crown Esports. But when Fire breaks it down, we will get to see more about that.
All right, so 14 Gaming again starting today's games like they did yesterday, grabbing that winner chicken dinner, being absolutely outstanding, especially towards that later part of the game. I thought they played that well, the rotations and all were absolutely spot on. Of course, 98K getting himself 4 eliminations. Remember, he is part of the guys who are in that top 5 contesting for MVP. We will see what that means pretty soon. Master Ugwe also as well getting 4 eliminations to his name. This was a game of quite amazing intensity, of course, like you can see with 51 eliminations, 3 grenades. Of course, we saw those flying and well, no fair eliminations for a Miramar game, but regardless, there were 26 assists and it was one of those games that were quite exciting. We're moving on now and we will see just in a bit what the leaderboard, the story tells. For a quick second, I thought that Neon was going to try to play spoiler to 14 Gaming, but they were still able to grab themselves those total 20 points from the game. And have they crossed that 100 mark? We'll find out in just a bit. But they got 10 eliminations to themselves, and of course, they're going head to head against Afro Esports. We saw them in that fight against the boys from ATH, and they got 7 eliminations. They took 4 from that, and I believe that Neo was quite, you know, great in that fight too as well. Now, speaking about Neo, our MVP, who got himself 4 eliminations, we talked about him in that fight versus Etley, and he got 1 assist too as well. Well, they keep on doing well, but somehow it just seems like they can't cross that line to get into those final stages of the game and grab that chicken dinner. But we'll see if things begin to turn and if the points that they've gathered from this game actually boost them up from 9th place when they started today's games and moves them all the way into that first page. We'll find out pretty soon. But Master Ugwe also as well putting up a great performance for his team, getting himself 4 eliminations. You see him with 653 damage. Neon 2 as well. Mo Cheeks was also in that conversation as well as 98K. And of course, Tribe always with the consistency from Kismet. So great stuff that we've seen from all of these players, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you can see the tally on that leader board. 14th again, still fighting on, still in the conversation, still saying, you know what, XTC is in 5th place, right? They got a whole bunch of eliminations, and we saw them take out a couple of players from 3 crowns. So 3 crowns was heavily hit. They've both finished with 8 and 7 points. So I don't think in the overall leaderboard at that top, you know, much changed, but we'll see in just a minute if 14 Gaming with the 20 points have come closer to the boys from 3 crowns. But definitely Afro Esports also boosting their tally up there. Tribe Warriors just seem like they're always there. They're always in the conversation. They're always trying to see if they can continue to remain consistent, as well as Neon Rising in this one too as well. So we'll see what that means pretty soon for the entire leaderboard. But what do you guys think? Do you think 14 Gaming is about to somehow continue and be consistent in today's games? Of course, we see here right here the MVP. I think the gap even increased a little bit, because before the game started, it was a 19 kills gap, but now we see that the gap has increased to 20 eliminations. There's still 4 more games to go, but it would take guys like 94K and Peachy getting themselves at least 5 eliminations every single game to be able to hit the spot. But now 14th has also now crossed that 100 mark. As you can see, they're just 4 points away from 3C, and they are 36 points away from Ecstasy. Now, I would never say never, okay? They could win another game, and if they put up the same amount of performance and Ecstasy somehow goes out of the game with no kill, either 3C or 14th could actually really get close to XTC. We got 4 games more, so never say never. 2 games could absolutely turn things around. But what are the chances that XTC does not continue to rack up those points, especially with that man Amazino? But another notable team, of course, is the boys from AE. They've gotten themselves all the way from that 9th position to 8th. Now UG, Of course, another team who I thought was going to do a lot better because, with the corruption from Tinubu, we saw them perform, quite well over the week. But regardless, it has been some great amount of games. We'll catch you guys when we come back and see if boys from 3C or 14s could actually mount pressure on XTC. Catch you soon.
Very fast win, 347, 348, now the contest, the boys in three, no way through, and they are going to hold it down. So S are your champions.
All right, guys. So we're on to the next game. We're going to be hopping real quick. So let's get ready to go.
Fire really took that real quick fast though. Yeah, damn. But anyway, guys, welcome back to the NPL Season 8. Today is the finals of the Harmattan split, so do not get things twisted. We might mention that word a lot, the word finals a lot, but nonetheless, I think it's a battle for second place. Every other caster here with me thinks there's still some hope. There's still a world where Ted 11 does not win this one. Heading into the next game of the day, Erangel, how are you feeling, Priest?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an amazing turnout so far. Big shout out to every single one of you in the live chat still. Over 100 live viewers concurrently ever since the first day of the final. I gotta give a big shout out to everyone that has tuned in. I really hope you guys have been enjoying this because I know I have. And Crowns, I know that Crowns has also been enjoying this. But again, something I said was I know I'm not expecting like ecstasy to win by like a crazy margin. That's what I want. They can
Define
win,
crazy
but I just
margin.
don't want it to be like with like 30 points or 40 points, man. I don't want to see that, I just don't want it. That's the only thing I don't want. I really want it to be at least I just want it to be close. That's all I'm asking for. That's really all I'm asking for. But it is what it is. We're heading into Erangel now. The vibe is going to be different. Krause, do you have any expectations or do you think it's still going to be a walk in the park?
I'm hoping to see Umoja Gaming at least grace us with their presence. But other than that, going into Erangel, I think it's going to be a case of how much can you close the gap. And I'm really starting. I mean, 14th Gaming has just won the first game of the day. It goes to show you that their head is in the right place. 4 points behind second place in Three Crown Esports. At this point, I'm keeping my eye out for Three Crown Esports in this Erangel game. I want to see the attitude that they're bringing in with respect to how they want to play this game. I know that there is that part of them that might want to keep an eye out for 14th gaming, try to know if 14th gaming is still alive or something. But then again, we've seen Three Crown beat that. I want to see them perform for that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right. Three Crown Esports, they really need to switch their game up. I really want them to turn things around because it really looks like 14th Gaming have a plan here and they've started to execute it perfectly. And it looks like there's a chance for, the grand finals of season 7 to repeat itself where Ecstasy's in first place, 14th Gaming is in second place, and maybe somebody else just hustles in and gets third place. It would be something very very unreal if that was to be the case because Three Crown Esports really they have everything they need to make this happen. They have everything they need to turn this around. There's a big chance for them to at least stun, the opposition. I really want them to stun the opposition. Like I said, the only thing I don't want is, Ecstasy winning by like a 40 gap margin or a 50 gap margin. That is haram. I don't want to see that, dog.
I'm telling you, that's not something we want to see. But then again, it does happen to look like what is happening. I mean, there's a couple other teams that just seem to have the most misplaced. I don't even want to go deep into that because there's just a couple teams that I'm just looking at, and I think it's because they're being pardoned. Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not impressed with how RT has played so far. I mean, they've got points up on the board. I look at the leaderboards and I'm like, how do they even have 70 points? I've not really vibed with how they've played so far. But man, we're heading back into the map of Erangel here. I'm surprised that there's still hot drops going on. Pochinki is still empty. Novo Repnonia that had two teams yesterday. Miraculously empty today now that the playing path passed it. It's been 3 days of the finals and basically 3 weeks of this tournament going through, and you still cannot beat your chest to say this is my drop spot. That's sad.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And the funny thing I keep saying is, there was a team that I gave a couple of pointers, and I told them that you can play Asnaya, you can play, Novo, you can play at least a position and make it yours. Just make it yours. That's what I was really expecting. Just try to make it yours, make this yours, and turn this around. But it looks like that's not going to be the case. But yeah, I want to see if someone is going to turn things around here because it's still the same teams getting chicken dinners. I want a different team to get a chicken dinner. Maybe Harsh Esports, maybe Neon Rising, maybe Four Portions as well. Because Four Portions, I'm not knocking them out though. I'm not putting them out at all. But yeah, 4 points. 14th Gaming, 4 points behind Three Crown Esports. Roughly 36 points behind Ecstasy. I mean, if you really want to do it, man, just you know what to do. I'm not gonna say it out, but you
Priest
know
is
what
trying
to
to tell you people
do.
to hot drop and gatekeep 1011 ecstasy.
That is
That's the
not what
only
I
way.
said. That
That's
is
what
not
he's
what I
implying,
said.
chat.
I said, you know what to do. I mean, if you want to do it, you know what to do. Nobody's gonna be mad. Nobody's gonna be upset that
Crowns
you
will be mad,
did
by
it.
the way.
Nobody's gonna be mad that you did it, dog. Nobody's gonna be mad that you went for it because the only way to stop a team from getting points, there is only one way to stop a team from getting points. There is only one way to stop that from happening. You can get more points than them, but when they are already leading you, there is only one way to guarantee that they don't get points. We watched the PMGO grand final today, and the thing we were talking about was the smash point system.
Mhm.
RCB in the last game, they had a plan of actually wanting to land on Goat Sports or Goats. What
Yeah,
do they
that
even
was the
call
team that.
themselves? Goat
I
something.
just
Goats.
Insignia
Goats.
Goods.
Yeah, something goat, Sha. It was actually something unique. I'm trying to remember what it was, but I guess not that unique if I don't remember it. But it was
That's
something
tough.
goat, Sha. So they got land. I really thought they were gonna get landed on, and it was the plan. It was really in the plan because I mean, if you land on them, you win. It's really that simple. If you land on the team, you win the tournament. If you land on them, you win the tournament. You reduce their chances. But again, Crowns, I think if you want to win a tournament, you just gotta grab the game by the horns. As I've always believed in that.
Definitely, you have to grab by your horn when you're going up against teams that have got that experience bank or that experience in the bank. You want to make sure that every game counts because I mean, if we're looking at other than that showing that 10-11 XTC had in that fifth game of yesterday where they went out with I think 0 points. I think that's like the worst game we've seen from 10-11 XTC. Other than that, we've always seen them, gather points regardless of the match that they find themselves in. And I think that is kind of attitude you want to bring into a finals, whereby like whatever happens, we are not going out. You need to increase the average you're going in. If normally through the group stages you're able to make it into the next stage with salvaging 3 points per game or 2 points per game or even up to 5 points per game, yes, you're going to make it through. But when you get into the finals
Oh,
against teams
oh,
that are very good, that was a good name, teams that are very, very
yeah.
good with respect to how they play, that have that mental fortitude, you want to make sure that you're increasing your average to like 10 to 15 points per game so that you can steadily stay on top of them. On Solid Army, making the push up to the stadium of 80 Athlete Gaming. Athlete Gaming?
Yeah, Mando gets the drop on 48-64, and
Hmm.
that's going to be a very unfortunate turn of events here. If Mando is about to do
Hmm.
something diabolical now, the smokes and the stuns popping outside,
Hmm.
trying to shield the vision here. This would be very
Hmm.
interesting, though. DYDX and Layla on the ground floor trying to close this out. Again, I was not expecting them to lose anyone in this engagement, but he has given away his angle. Oh, that's a
Ooh.
beautiful touch. And that is dangerous, very dangerous from Mando. Athlete game here. They
Hmm.
could be capitalizing on this. Layla wants to go for the 1v1, gets his HP
Hmm.
back up. A jump shot is good. And he knows he
Ooh.
doesn't want to take them on in the open. I love the way Mando is moving around here for Athlete game. This could be very interesting for Athlete Game on Solid Army in the vicinity, trying to get their bearings right. And he drops it again, makes the
Why is
right
bro looting?
drop, drops it
Come on!
immediately, goes for the clutch, and tries to wrap it up. Jumps into the corner, HP low, but unfortunately, DYDX will save on Solid Army, but not without sacrificing the rest of his teammates.
That was close. That was close. Another clutch that we've almost retested. That was a 1v3 successful, but unfortunately not quite able to find the last player there from Unsolid Army as they would survive with one. I was about to make one very bad joke, but I'm going to keep that for off camera. That being said, we have 13 teams left. Tribe Warriors seeming to have the entirety of Rozok to themselves. Finger me, you don't have enough skin to be doing all of this drifting, bro.
I think if Mando did get the knock from the window, I think he would have clutched. I really I really
Mm-hmm.
thought the knock was going to come through from that window, that exposed window, but unfortunately he turned his back to the ops, and I think that just what put him in a bad spot. But was still a very very solid play, nonetheless.
He got the thirst. I mean, 3 points, three
Yeah.
eliminations, would give it to him. That should at least go somewhere on the leaderboard, hopefully. I mean, we've not really seen good performance. I mean, I'm just looking at it. Athlete game in 11 games played so far, and, they've only been able to accrue 8 points. That is nothing to write home about. So definitely you can understand why they're trying to get every single elimination. But anyway, RT Sports making that push onto the side of 14th game in, and it does look like there is fire in the mountain,
Wow.
fire in the room as
Hmm.
Master Uguay currently getting incinerated in that room.
Hmm. Okay, I respect it. Arab T, first elimination of the game, and it's against the guy who's currently sitting in third place. I respect it regarded. It's a very strong push. It's a very strong angle coming through from them. Villain will have to think twice now. Again, being able to force a team like 14th Gaming out of this spot, you have to commend it. RFT not backing away at all. They capitalize and they utilize, and it turns out very solid in their favor. I really want them to keep that momentum though, because it's one of those things you just can't allow the momentum slip away from you. If you start strong, you got to try to finish strong because those are two separate things.
Yeah, definitely. You have to make sure you're balancing it between how you're going through the game, and then obviously seeing the team that you've just taken out B14's game. They've been a team that has been on fire, and with respect to them being on fire, I mean, I didn't mean that literally. I'm sorry, but you guys have been on fire. But it is trouble on the Eastern Bridge right now with Neon Rising being held and kept by the side of four portions. Neon Rising already getting themselves the advantage with two knocks already being found and make that a third. As La 4194, Peachy, the last player left to hold on the fort, and it's not looking as colorful or as tasty as Peaches right now as Neon Rising push with the numbers. They know where Peachy is, and PTSD from yesterday, but it does look like they want to full send this one. More paid coming in from the side, and it's going to start the crash.
Nah, yeah, this is not looking good. I don't like this push from Neon Rising. It's not looking good. It's not looking like a good push from them though, because Morstees trying to stay locked in here. I'm not sure they know that he's down there. Yep, they
Upbeat.
don't know he's down there. He gets the first drop. This could be very diabolical for the guys from Neon Rising. Peachy holds up, tries to circle back, goes up into the top floor again, grenade in hand, and he tries to lock it in as well. Sways into the corner there, trying to force them to toss the grenades, but that's not going to work. He tries to get the angle on drop, and that could change things. Again, gets the drop on him, trying to force them to make some serious mistakes, trying to shoot the door down, almost getting dropped away by another grenade into the corner, gets the first drop. Beautiful shot from Peachy, trying to force them into playing into a 1v1 scenario. He tries to get the angle locked in. Neon Rising have to think twice now. And
Oh,
again, he switches balconies and switches lanes onto the first floor, and again jumps through the corner, and he's playing 10-10. But unfortunately, Mornax was there to shut that down, but that could have been something special if it played out the way he wanted.
he was playing chess while Neon Rising were trying to win in a game of checkers. What a play coming through from Peachy. I did enjoy how he was playing the mind games. That jump up to the balcony, that is something that you do not see every day. And I feel like this is one of those cases where you do know that player is telling his teammate, if I had a DBS, they are done. But speaking of being done, Neon Rising definitely being done, getting squad wiped as we see them take out Peachy on that one. I don't think they lost any of their players either. So kudos Neon Rising on winning that one.
Yeah, they're starting good. They're starting strong. Arab T, Neon Rising, sixth and seventh place. They're starting really strong. Neon Rising much closer to Arab T than one would notice, but it's an opportunity for them to overtake the guys from four portion, seeing that they have been sent out of the lobby. And Three Crown Esports, 14th Gaming, Tribe, and Ecstasy still very much in the game here. And it's only 14th Gaming that have lost one player. I think they did lose Master Uguay earlier on to Arab T Esports, but it's a
Mm-hmm.
good game. It's a very good game that they've had so far. Hopefully, they will be able to turn things around. The play zone continues to shrink forwards. Again, it's going to be very interesting because I don't see any teams locking in and crashing into each other, at least for the next foreseeable zone. I think it's
Oof.
going to get worse from zone number 4, stage 4 of the circle. I think that's where all the action is going to start to milk in, because Erangel, I'm starting to see that, it's more leaning towards what the zone does, because most of the teams on that other side are much more reactive. They wait for the zone to decide for them. They don't necessarily have to, take any initiative for the most part, because it just costs them a little bit more. And I'm seeing that Dark Knights being one of those teams, they've been struggling so far. Their play style is just it's just unfortunate that their play style. There's lobbies where their play style is going to be successful. The way they play it slow and steady, but in the NPL it just doesn't work.
It's not working at all for them. And I was looking at that position that they held on those shorelines. I was about to say that was actually a strong position being held by them. Unfortunately, they were holding it a little too early, and I think they realized that as well, which is why they're going into a compound for the time being. Because you know what we say. If you see the shoreline, you cannot really go wrong with a shoreline, especially in the game of PUBG Mobile. And when you're going into those later phases, definitely the shorelines would help. But yeah, Dark Knights, we've not really seen them pick up as much as we expect them to. They were a team that finished what I believe fourth, or if I'm not mixing it, in the survival stages. They did finish high up on the leaderboard, and we're expecting more from them in this finals, but we're not quite seeing that Dark Knights over here.
Yeah, we're not. I expect a whole lot more from them, but it's the NPL. It's bound to be very interesting to see, how teams actually advance, what kind of strategies they employ, what they're in the mood for at certain times. Every single thing is important. But, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like the stream and subscribe to the channel, the NPL. This is the last day. This is the finals of the Harmattan split, prize pool on the line, and 1 foot in the grand finals. All of these teams have 1 foot inside of the grand finals, and this is where their journey begins. But right now, as it stands, there is a big, big disparity between the top, 4 teams and the rest of the lobby right now. 4 portions being in that middle way. Hopefully, Arab T and Neon Rising will gear up and get their drop in, but it looks like Amar is starting to rain bullets onto the guys from Afro Esports, and Dax gets caught out. Amar with a ghillie suit. Yeah, yeah, we're gonna call
Yep.
it a wrap.
Yep, you can already just tell. You can already tell how they're feeling right now because you don't get a ghillie on the floor. You have to get that from the airdrop. We don't really see teams head for airdrops too often. We're starting to see 10-11 Ecstasy go for that full send onto the side of Afro Esports, going for that little bit of a chase, but they will not be chasing that into the school area for the time being. I'm looking at the map, seeing where teams are situated. Tribe Warriors finding themselves on the top of Potato Hill. I would always encourage such gameplay, and I'm seeing them hold up there. They would have advantages to kind of see what is going on, at least in their closest proximity. But rather than that, every other person just seeming to hold up a split in one part of the zone or the other. And I'm looking forward to the next circle because I know that's where things are going to start to get relatively hot.
Yeah, that next circle is going to be something feisty. Afro Esports getting bent over again. They lose 2, and finally they're making it to their original landing location after a little bit of time. I think it's unfortunate for them because there's some teams that struggle when they don't play their pattern. Most of these teams by now they have a pattern, but the there's something that I always say.
Come on down!
The Wow, Rizzo. I can feel the Riz all the way from here. 98K, unfortunately, is going to be the one to steal that one away after all your hard work, right? It's
That's
just going to be
tough.
14th Gaming that will capitalize and take that one away. But like I said, there's something I always say, the hardest choices require the strongest wills. I came
Mm,
up with that on my own. So, and I
mm-mm,
want to say that the reality of it is some teams just don't have a strategy outside of what they already know. So when the
mm,
game doesn't like look the way they feel and they are used to, they start to struggle. When they don't
mm.
play from their regular drop spot, or when they don't get vehicles from their regular place where they get vehicles, when they when things don't just go the way they like, they start to struggle. And case in point, Afro Esports. Now watch how Arab T will capitalize on this. That's a
Oh,
solid
that's a good
grenade.
nade.
Dago will be getting dropped off into the corner. SWAT as well. Arab T know exactly how to
I've seen him.
capitalize on this. Dago's been spotted. All it takes is
Hey!
one shot. Again,
Hey!
bad communication skills, and Creed will be offered up like a little bit of a sacrifice neutralized there for Afro Esports, and that is an
It be your own
unfortunate scenario,
guys.
Crowns.
It be your own guys, bro. It's your own guys that will do this to you. A very solid nade from Rodo onto Creed, though. Unfortunately, that is going to spell the end of Creed's run in this game. And that has instantly. You see that? Yes, you've made a mistake. What is your next move? You know, we're starting to now.
Ah,
All right. Hey, it's a play. I would. What exactly is happening? But anyway, I will just let you guys know what is happening. This is the RFT Esports trying to make up their mind with Afro Esports with respect to how they want to take this fight, or if they want to take this fight at all. I do see Gungun is no longer in the vicinity, but we're still going to see two nades be thrown out there as RFT Esports would sign out with that lovely trade that they've embarked on with the side of Afro Esports. One knock or one healing for one healing. They would head out of there. They would prioritize the position in the circle.
yeah. Again, it wasn't even one elim for one elim though. That's what's so funny.
Oh.
Arapti
Oh
didn't
yeah,
get
that's true.
nothing.
Their one healing was
They
from
didn't get any.
14th.
Yeah, they didn't get nothing
So-
from that exchange. They just went, donated a body, and left. That's why I was just, like I felt a type of way. They just came there, donated Creed, and left. That is what happened there. Came, donated Creed,
Donate
and
is
left.
the right word. Because it
Like,
was even
it's-
a nade from Rodo to Creed. I don't know,
Yes,
check that guy.
Creed now the sacrificial lamb, no toxic. I drop into the corner, but that is a jump from the heavens. An ape will give them a little bit of that. Sends them back into the lobby. Vanguard
Not
on
gonna lie.
top, 3 eliminations.
That was a good hold from the side there of Vanguard, and I'd say that is a very bad rotate coming through from the side of Dark Knight. I did watch that rotation when they were embarking on it. I was about to say the position that they're in, they have to keep an eye on 14th gaming. They already know 14th gaming is there for what is what they stole your elimination, So whatever rotation you want to do, you cannot rotate before my 14th gaming. But we saw them leave and go for that early rotation. 14th gaming took out about, I think, one of their player on that rotation, and well, that just made things very easy for the side of Vanguard.
Yeah, I think they did everything right there. The guys from Vanguard, they put everything in perspective. It panned out, but I think they did lose someone in there. Gotta respect the McLaren though. Big shout out to production for showing us how broke we are. Thanks,
Bruh.
Pradeep. But again, all action nonetheless. And looks like Ape is gonna try to do a little bit of a back and forth with Neon Rising, but he knows enough. Just take a look at Ecstasy's holds. Jesus, man.
It's
bro.
you can just this is the kind of hold you pull off when you know you're 31 points above whoever is close to you. What is what? It is working for them at the moment because they still find themselves alive. But it's like everyone is now down on the south looking. If you can look at that beautiful fruit sandwich that we have going on down there, that is what you're watching, the chaos that is ensuing here in the NPL finals. 3 Crown getting approached by the side of Vanguard, but Vanguard still taking more damage from other teams as grenades start to fly from Neon Rising just right above the hill. It is hard to make your way up to the top of the hill. That's why it gets lonely over there as Neon Rising. They're not quite letting this one slide. Every team has to be at their mercy right now, and they have to clear these teams before that blue zone starts to move.
Looks like Neon Rising starting to lock in. 5 eliminations, very solid. And more chicks makes it 6. And 3 Crown Esports again will be at the mercy of them. And Merrick, I believe, is going to be the last one left. Only 1 point secured, and that's going to be good night for him. More Steez will send him back into the lobby. Neon Rising up and active, and the gap again is going to be cut down. A big opportunity for 14 Gaming to push 3 Crown Esports into 3rd place. Another even bigger opportunity for Tribe Warriors to push them into 4th place. Because all they secured in this game was 1 point. Crowns, I feel like 3 Crown Esports are in danger right now.
They really are in danger. That second position is really up for grabs, and it becomes way up for grabs now when you see that Tribe Warriors are still alive with a full squad and 14th Gaming are still alive. They still have 3 alive, but right now it does look like Tribe Warriors might have gotten a whiff of the side there of 14th Gaming as they did get that first knock. That is one of the advantages that you stand to have whenever you're chilling on Potato Hill. That is the one knock found onto the side of 14th Gaming, and 14th Gaming left with their last 2 players to just try to find some sort of solace in the circle, but it doesn't look like they'll find anywhere to call home because right now they might just be driving straight into the arms, the welcoming arms of 1011 Ecstasy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the worst thing that can happen to them right now, donating it to Ecstasy. But Ecstasy could be getting caught out here. And it looks like 14
Harmattan.
Gaming will not be capitalizing either. Jesus. They're not
It
going to
is up for grab for
capitalize. They will be
Tribe though.
getting dropped away. And trouble right now for Tribe Warriors. They do get the drop. Easy for 7 will get the drop as well. And Mornax sends him back into the lobby. Neon Rising will be cut short. They're cut down to 3. Ragnar putting in some of that work as well. More Steez will think again. Why is he getting dropped off? But Kiss will be spotted
I
as
think
well, getting swept away there. More Neon Rising. I'm not even sure what is going on.
what Neon Rising is doing is baffling me, but I think another thing that baffles me is how 10-11 are still alive. And they're taking so many different fights. One wonders how they're still alive. They're fighting Neon Rising and Tribe Warriors at the same time, getting knocked across both sides. And they also took out the side of Vanguard game in a beautiful grenade there from Danny Brown. Would find more chicks. Steez on and off angle is also being discovered, but grenades now being sent towards his position. He has no choice but to stay back at heel as 10-11, looking for the remainder of Neon Rising. They do know Morris is behind there, but they understand that there's still another team on the top of the hill doing that third party work with Tribe Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how they're getting away with this. They can't keep getting away with this. But Ecstasy, 8 eliminations, and that chicken dinner, it's is looming. Is looming nonetheless. Tribe Warriors, could they be the ones to stop them? Could they be the ones to put an end up to this haram ball that we're witnessing right now? Tribe Warriors, can they make it happen? Kiss on the drop. He peeked out a little bit there, takes a couple more hits, and they will give him a little bit of more warning. He doesn't have the play zone either, so he's gonna have to think twice about this one. Arab T as well, just think behind them if they can make their way through. And Unsullied Army are still in the mix here. Artichoke trying to circle back. He's gonna be spotted. He will be getting dropped away, but Arab T, they want to capitalize on this. They want the action for themselves. Grope will be spotted out. He will be sent back as well. And Tribe, somehow, in all that has happened, they are now down to just one man.
RFT Sports have just gone out where the rest of his teammates went out there in for the side of Tribe Warriors. But man, Case is surviving by the skin of his tooth. 10-11 Ecstasy know he's here. They see those smokes. Run over trying to come through from the side of 10-11, but they cannot get it. But the hit marker is all Crusader would need as he sends Tribe Warriors back and packing. 10-11 took what Priest said personally at the start of the game and he said, what gap do you think is going to get closed here? As they are now down to what seems to be a 4v1. The last player to hold down the 14. SWAT cannot do it. And we said it.
In the blue.
Amar is the player you do not want to give a ghillie suit to.
I said it too. Ghillie Suit Amar, nasty work. Ghillie Suit Amar, nasty work. But yeah, I mean, insane game from Ecstasy. I know Fire is buzzing right now with the haram he just witnessed. So, Fire, tell us, how do you feel about this haram ball you just witnessed right now?
Man, absolutely crazy. I think it's time for us to just concede because Ecstasy has definitely increased the gap again, conceding one on the side of Mr. Amar, who has now got himself 6 more eliminations. So for the MVP, see, look, guys, that one is gone. That was gone already. Okay, there's no hope for anyone. But regardless, also as well, up on the leaderboard, it's second game of the night. There's only 3 more games. I think at this point it will take a miracle. Okay, so for me, I'm just going to say, okay, don't hold me. Okay, I'm not the caster. I'm just here to analyze. But I think that first position is sealed. I don't see Ecstasy with the way they're playing. I don't see Ecstasy with the way they're playing. Anyone else coming except 3C, of course, does maybe wins the last 3 games. I mean, we've seen it before. It's still possible. But regardless, it has been crazy. But we'll be taking a look. I mean, it was back-to-back action at every single spot. There was also another play, though, from the guys from Afro Esports when Neon was pushing them. What was that play from Peachy? That was some insane level. I need to rethink the way I think about the game, I need to rethink it too as well. Watch more clips because clearly, people see these games differently. But regardless, 10-11 getting 23 points in this particular game. I think if my math is correct, they are edging close to 170. It is possible that they might reach 200 points in today's game. So that's Well, we'll see. Tribe Warriors again continuing on with their consistency. They got 9 points in this game. They're going head to head against 10, 11, and we're always seeing them continuing to do that thing, right? The question is, will they grab that top three position and be part of the teams that would take that prize? Because for me, that's what everyone else is fighting for at this point, right? There's 14th gaming. There's the boys from Three Crowns. Now, Three Crowns. I mean, for me, I'm not sure what it is between them and Neon, but I felt like if they managed to take out Neon, they could have gone on to battle the boys from XTC. But our MVP of the night once again is Amazinho. This man just continues to absolutely stomp the lobby. I think he's going to get to 60. I think he's going to get to 60 points at this particular rate because he has just been outstanding in every single game and just remain consistent. So it's one thing to be good, but to be good and consistent at the same time, back to back, even when they're not playing that well, he's getting those four eliminations, and he continues to put up the points. But this time around, we'll take a look and see the support that he got from Seven. Seven got 3 eliminations, to himself. Mando got 3, Alucard got 3 as well, and Monax got 3 also as well. So of course we see Monax and Neon. It was quite, you know, aggressive, especially in those final stages when they were going up against the boys from 3C. So I mean, it was an absolutely crazy game, from all of these teams, and I do think that, you know, the leaderboard. I mean, I just want to see what that overall leaderboard is. Let me do some math and see if there's still some chance. If you watch football, like, when Arsenal fans are always hoping, if they lose, maybe we might. I need to do that math. But Tribe Gaming coming in second spot. Ecstasy, of course, taking maximum points from the game with 23, doing more than double what any other team did. Neon Rising, of course, as well, taking 9-2 as well. Afro Esports taking 8. Arab T getting 7. And Sonic Army, a little bit better from them this time around, but they're not having quite the greatest campaign, getting 7. Now, overall MVPs, of course, that man, remember, I did say that he was going to get to 60, and it looks, yeah, definitely looks possible. He is double, okay, not double, actually. There's still 98k, but he's definitely double what Peachy has. Peachy with 24, 98k with 28. 7 is back into the top 5 again because he, got moved out by some Three Crowns boys, and now they've gone out, and 7 and Kiss Me are now in the conversation too as well, with 23 and 22 kills respectively. Now we're looking at the overall leaderboard. It is 169. They are currently leading. Let's have it with 54 points, guys. What? Some teams don't have 54. No, not just some teams, guys. The bottom 8 none of them have 54 points. Okay, let that sink in. I just wanted that to sink in. Okay, this is crazy. All right, so for me, the fight I think that is still going on, or is still going to happen within the next 3 games, is who is going to finish second and third. That's it. That's my own thoughts. Anyone else can argue. There's no DYDX. There's no if maybe this person. That's not working with that number 1 spot. Yeah. All right. We'll try get into that top 3 spot. We'll see. We'll find out. All right, guys. That has been wow. A lot of haram going on in that game. A lot of crazy gameplay. But my man Amma has remained consistent and kept XTC at the top. Of course, his teammates Crusade and 7 have also been doing your work. So great stuff. We still got 3 games to go for the night. We'll catch you when we come back from the break. Ah,
Alrighty, we are
uh-huh.
here, we are together, we are locked in, and we are loaded. Why? Because we're about to enter. If you think you guys have seen chaos, we're about to enter one of the most chaotic maps of PUBG Mobile. It's none other but Sanhok. Priest is definitely feeling more than green as we're about to get into that game. What are the thoughts? What are the expectations?
I mean, I had a kind of monster during the break, so I'm active right now, but I'm feeling that in your money. This is how 10-11 is feeling right now. This is how XS is feeling right now.
I mean,
In your
and tell me why
money.
they won't feel like
I
that when
mean,
we're about to head into
at
their
this
favorite
point,
map.
they will play. You see, they are going to play Hansi Flick ball. This one.
I
Do you know
hope
what they're
so.
going to do now? They're going to play diamond formation. One person in Kao, one person in what's the Sami, one person in Kampong, and one person in Camp Alpha. That's diamond formation. Ultimate haram ball.
I
One
hope
person for one region of the map at this point. That's what
I
they're going
hope
to do.
not. I hope not. You know, I was reading the chat and then I saw someone say, "Hey, remove Amar. We want to see." When we did that mathematics for that guy, if we subtract all of Amar's eliminations from 10-11's elimination count, they're still number one. You know, and you could just tell that they're just way above the entire lobby. I mean, they've got the most chicken dinners in the lobby, and it's not even by little. They have 6 chicken dinners to their name. The next team that follows them with respect to chicken dinners,
Six.
3 Crown and 14 to have just two
Damn.
elimination to their names each. So it's like you could just tell that they are way above. For a team that has such amount of eliminations, you would expect that okay, yes, the balance between the eliminations and placement is not that good. Maybe they won't be number one with respect to placements, but even with that, I mean, outside of their chicken dinner, they've only gotten 6 eliminations. Sorry, 6 points from that, which is equivalent to a second place finish. It just goes to show you the consistency that this team has put up on the board. That's half. They've played 12 and they've won 6. Oh, come on. What a team.
Yeah, they've been
Ah,
absolutely incredible to watch. Vibe have finally decided to join us. And then looks like they're going to get active real quick. Ling Ling, Kenny, and Wukong are in the mix. Hopefully, they will be able to secure themselves with some points. And the only funny thing is, they've missed all these games and they're still ahead of Dark, Ragnar, and Athlete Game.
that's just tough, and that is just sad. I mean, Dark managing to get very close to them with respect to points, 1 point behind them, but nonetheless, it is not something to write home about. You know, Dark Ragnar and Athlete Game. You've seen that two teams have been absent for the majority of today. I would have expected them to, jump up a little bit. But man, speaking of jumping up, man, I'm looking at RT Sports position on the leaderboard, 77 points, and Tribe Warriors that is just above them is 106 points above. That's yet another 30-point lead between the top 4 teams and the rest of the lobby. It just goes to show that skill disparity.
Yeah, big skill disparity between the lobby right now. But hopefully somebody's going to put an end to this haram. Now, something else we want to touch on is um 3 Ground Esports, 14th Gaming, Tribe, all within
Hmm.
touching distance of each other. Then you now have Arab T, Four Portions, Neon Rising, also all within touching distance of each other. So now I think the leaderboard is trying to give us a little bit of a tier system where you have Ecstasy in the S tier, then you have 3 Crown, 14th, and Tribe all within the same tier, and then you now
You
have
reckon?
Arab T, Four Portion, and Neon Rising all in their own tier. What do you think? Is it too far fetched?
No, I think my own is even where it's going to be far fetched because me, I want to put ordinary XTC in that S tier. Then, we can now go A tier where we'd have 3 Crown 14 Tribe, and then we can go B tier where we now have RFT, Four Portions, Neon. I don't even know if I want to throw Afro Esports due to the inconsistency I'm seeing from them. I feel like Umoja Gaming might have put up a little bit of a stand today, provided they came in today with knowledge of where they even want to land at first. But anyway, there's been a whole battle happening here in Paradise Resorts between Vibe Gaming and Tribe Warriors. Tribe Warriors happens to be that one team that cannot go out under any circumstance, at least not right now. But anyway, we do see that first knock has been found already. Vibe Gaming now put to the test. Wukong falls. Kenny, the last one left, but it's going to go out to that explosion. It is a clean wipe from Tribe Warriors as they welcome the side of Vibe Gaming. They're like, we know you just got here, but kindly be going back to where you're coming from.
Yeah. Tribe Warriors looking good, looking strong. Now they have started to mount more pressure, on 14th and Three Crown Esports. They started the game very strongly. They started adding numbers, and it looks like Vanguard, on their own path, have also started to turn things around for themselves, just trying to put some numbers together. And again, Docks, they're in Docks. Interesting position to choose as a landing spot. Docks very far by
Hmm.
the end of the map there. Monkey's going to trade them off. They will lose one. And Too Cold is in the vicinity as well. Might get a drop on, I think, the guys from Athlete Game here. Monkey will crash the party. ADK is going to be climbing up and he will be spotted. He's 1 HP. All it takes is just
Let's
one hit. Again, pushing someone that has cover. Oh, brother.
out in the open. Out in the open as well is just where it starts to baffle me. But 3 eliminations for the side of Vanguard Gaming, and they would accept that with open arms. I'm trying to see if Vanguard Gaming would find themselves on the left hand side of the leaderboard. Reason why I'm saying that is because we saw this resilience come through from them in that second super weekend, where they needed to play so well on the last day, and indeed they played so well on the last day that they got themselves into that top 7 spot. Right now in the grand finals, or well, in the Harmattan split finals, they found themselves in the same position as well, where they have to actually play well to try to see if they can at least make it into, say, like the top 5 or maybe top 6 for a little bit of bragging rights there. So I'm trying to see if Vanguard Esports are going to be able to do that here again in the in the split finals.
Well, I would be impressed if they are going to
Eh?
make it happen. But it's like Neon Rising may have some words for 14th Gaming, but they will be trading off one for the other in Ecstasy's trade-off. Again, we saw that happen earlier on. Hopefully, it will yield something for them. But 14th Gaming in a world of trouble right now. They've lost two, and Neon
Hmm.
Rising may have something for them. And it looks like more pain also going to be getting knocked
Eh?
away, but 98K is also going to get spotted, and that is 3 bodies down for the guys from 14th Gaming. It's so difficult. It's so difficult the way how inconsistent these teams, they are playing. I mean, as it stands right now, 14th Gaming, this is not, a game where you want to be losing anyone this early. But it looks like Neon Rising have other plans of their own. They did do a little bit of a trade off there, but hopefully 24K maybe will rise to the occasion, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Neon Rising, I think they will get out their at least the extra man back. Villain will bleed out. And
Huh.
something just caught my eye as well. Looks like
Ragnar?
Ecstasy have done a substitution, Crowns.
Oof, they have done a substitution. I do see that man there standing there. Bego is now in the mix as we do see Danny Brown take a little bit of a breather going into the next game. But before we talk to you much about that one, I am Senior Rising and I want to tell them they are putting themselves in the same situation they've always put themselves in almost every game we've seen so far. You're in a position you've knocked 3 people. You know the last guy is on the bridge. There is no reason why More Pain is the only person who is taking this risky move. And I know they are doing this with the hopes that
Like,
Pain and Abi, that Steez and Max are somehow going to play cover fire for him. And it's like you keep making these questionable plays. You wonder, where's your head at? Do you really want this Elim or not? Because not gonna lie, 24K, if he jumps into the water, gets his swim over, if he tries to play the mind game, Priest,
hmm,
please carry away.
hmm, hmm. I mean, if he had fallen to his death, then that would have been funny, dog. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I would have laughed. I'm not even gonna lie. I would have really laughed. I would have been very unprofessional and laughed at that. But looks like that's not going to be the case. 24K. I mean, if he manages to steal an elimination here, it would really hurt my feelings that Neon Rising would play so risky. 3 eliminations. You've already lost one. You plan to lose another. But Harsh Esports in a little bit of trouble here. Tribe again
Hmm,
getting displaced. They did
hmm.
lose two. Started very strongly, but they lose 2 players, and they lose 2 players to the guys from Harsh Esports. It is again the inconsistencies from Tribe.
And this is a game where I said it earlier in that first engagement they took. They cannot go out early, and I feel like maybe they started to play a little bit lightly, seeing that 14th gaming were starting to lose players on the elimination feed. Maybe that could have been it, but nonetheless, it is still careless play. Reckless play is really coming through from Tribe Warriors because if you look at 14th gaming, they are giving that. I don't want to say they are giving that ecstasy vibe because we see 14th gaming in games where either Three Crown or Tribe Warriors go out early. they pop off. Game one was a perfect example. You saw them get that chicken dinner. So I feel like as a team that is under them, with respect to the rankings, once you see them go out, you also want to replicate a very good performance. Because I mean, if you're going out with 5 points in this game, it is not helping you keep 14th gaming out of bay, and it's not helping you climb above 3 crown either. Eh? 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 Priest, he's got it to touch down to a stadium of HP. He's gonna go for the first because he understands he needs it. But unfortunately, 4-1-1 will take him out from that.
Wow.
That was close, a little too close for comfort.
Yeah, that was dangerous. That was very dangerous. But Hershey Sports, they were very alert, and they reacted relatively very quickly to that scenario. That was very dangerous from them. Hopefully, they didn't get caught slipping. But Neon Rising, on the other hand, they are running into Afro Esports. This could be a very, very dangerous game that they are playing here. Monarchs can't seem to find the angles there. They will pop one over to the side. Doesn't get the job done still, but Neo and SWAT will try to make something happen here. They will be trying to lock this one in. Neo gets spotted out by more Steez. Will be getting knocked away. Beautiful positioning coming through from Neon Rising, and hopefully they don't get dropped off into the other corner as well. A beautiful position for more Steez here, trying to close this out. Afro Esports biding their time, trying to make something happen, but Dax into the corner as well. An unfortunate scenario as more Pain will be knocked away. Dago tries to play off the right-hand side. He's been spotted, and he could be in a tricky spot here. Can he get picked up?
And I would have expected to see isolation play come through from the side of Neon Rising. And this is where we ask the question: what do you do when one of your players gets knocked? And that is the situation they found themselves in. Payne has gotten knocked on that background, but you do know you want to isolate and push up to that position currently being held by SWAT. Continue with that push. Do not stop under any circumstance. You gotta go with the priest mentions having a plan a lot of times. Once you have that plan, stick to the plan and stick to it through. Someone gets knocked, stick to the plan, because you already have numbers on one side. The person who got knocked is the one person you put on an off angle. So you know what? These two of us that are together, let us at least isolate this guy, give the opponent something to think about, initiate the trade.
Exactly. You always have to give the opponent something to worry about. You have to make them second guess their own plans, and it looks like Neon Rising have second guessed a little bit too long. Afro Esports will capitalize on this one for sure. Neon Rising again failing to climb over those other teams that have been eliminated before them. They will not be able to put themselves closer to the guys from Four Portions Tribe or 14th Gaming. Now, this could be an opportunity for 3 Crown Esports to run farther away. All the opposition that they have all drifted out of the lobby. I think it's going to be only Arab T. Hopefully, I will see Arab T at least, crack into that top 5 position. All it takes is a couple more eliminations, and I think that will be the job getting done. But Mornax, imagine that Mornax goes out to the play zone.
Imagine what is going through the minds of the players there from 14th game. Like, oh, you took us out only to go out to the zone. I mean, 14th is even still alive. Neon Rising is out. Why? Because they failed to push up onto 14th. All three of them could have pushed that bridge, gotten rid of the last player from 14th Gaming, and made the advance into the circle. But no, they chose to stay inside that blue zone looking for off angles that God knows why. But anyway, blue zone is going to be doing its damage on the side of Afro Esports. But on the other hand, we do have fights going on in the circle as 10-11 seem to be playing a little bit of gatekeep onto the players there from Harsh Esports. They've lost 2 so far. We are in stage 4. You might be able to get, I think they should be able to get that revive up until that next circle closes up. But we do have 3 Crown coming in through for gatekeep and third party onto the side here of 10-11 Ecstasy, as Ecstasy would lose one more. Amar still alive. Ecstasy easy for 7 still alive, but it does look like grenades will fall up onto Nexus. 3 Crown Esports lose the IGL very early on in the engagement.
Yeah, didn't expect them to lose Nexus this early in that trade-off, but it looks like Ecstasy have plans of their own, and they will want to do something about that one. But Quilla was able to do something about, I believe it was it I think it was easy for seven or one of the
Mhm.
players from Ecstasy that he did manage to catch slipping, and that was an unfortunate scenario for them. But they did have managed to put some points in. But as it stands, Arab T have done exactly what they need to do. They are in the top five. Vanguard will be going out as well. They will manage three eliminations on their way out. They are waiting for Amar to peek out of that house, and he will take more damage. But easy for seven makes it so easy. Gets a drop on 419, and he will be getting flushed. He doesn't succeed. He will be sent back into the lobby, two apiece for each player from Ecstasy.
Losing Crusader and Bego early on. The only two players who happen to be on the MVP list happen to be the ones who are still alive for the side of Ecstasy. But with that gatekeep looking to come through from the side of Three Crown Esports, I do not see how 10-11 Ecstasy would make it into the circle. And I think they know as well, which is why they're trying to find the players there from Harsh Esports, hoping they can salvage a little bit more points before they have to go out themselves. Zone does close up once more. Three Crown Esports, they definitely hear all of these fights, and it's a question of we don't want to take it. That is a little too late, and I believe the Blue Zone is going to be taking easy for 7 outs there. Amar, last player left to hold on the fort. Dark Knights have been going out against the side there of RT Esports, where RT Esports have lost three already in that engagement, and they're down to Creed to kind of hold down the fort for them this time.
Yeah, Creed. Last one left, but again, Arab T. It's unfortunate that I think they have three players knocked away. I think it's to the blue zone. Rotation, two laid outs. I mean, you always have to factor it in how many players are alive. There's no need for you to be hugging the blue zone at this stage of the game. There's no reason for them to be so close to the blue that they are taking blue zone damage. Like, there's no reason. Arab T, they had four players up at the beginning of zone 5, and now zone 5 is about to close and they're just down to 1. It is just an unfortunate scenario that is the case, and that is what is happening to them. But right now, Ragnar have made their own rotation from that western side. They're playing a split. They've got new player over to that little bit of that western side. Player 4 continues to pepper the guys from Three Crown Esports. Quilla has got Merrick playing deep into the south, takes a little bit of more play zone damage as well. And Dark Knights also in that southern position. The rotation going forward right now is going to be a very tricky one to make, rounds.
Yeah, it's a very tricky one. We do have just open fields to work with. There's a little bit of a high ground, but it is still open field. It's going to get more tricky as you try to make the move in, as Three Crown would lose to make that three, because somebody was, for a very intelligent and bright reason, in the blue zone as the best way to take out some of the opponents. We are down to the final four teams. Like, I don't know if you guys can hear how disappointed I am with how some of these teams are playing, because right now it's not even game one, it's not game two. This is game three. This is the third game. You're well warmed up, but anyway, we leave that alone as Archie Sports. Last player alive in player 4, trying to see if he can hold down the fort. Does take a couple more shots, but new player would send them back and pack in. We're down to the final 3 teams with Ragnar up as a full squad.
Absolutely beautiful play coming through from Ragnar. That new player drop, he gets the drop on him, and look at that. Ragnar will take the chicken dinner, well deserved. These guys were not worried about the zone. They were in the zone the whole time. That is why they won. I really thought Arab T was going to make it happen, but Ragnar takes the chicken dinner. Ragnar takes the chicken dinner before Unsullied Army, before Vibe, before Athlete Game. Ragnar takes a chicken dinner. Fire.
And that is
More haram you have just witnessed.
I mean, a lot of plays there that I wasn't really impressed with. I mean, I thought that for a moment, just when the boys from Ecstasy had gotten taken out, and 14th also as well, that would be the moment for 3C to capitalize and get a lot of kills, as well as grab some points and somehow close the gap and still keep hopes alive. But it does seem like I don't know what was that thing where they were going into the zone, and I don't know. I probably have to watch it. Maybe there's some context I don't have or I wasn't seeing, but I was really hoping for more there. But regardless, he still can't take it away from the boys from Pragna, who did quite well for themselves and got that chicken dinner. 45 eliminations in this particular game. You did see the 2 grenades, 23 assists. It was just crazy play from the beginning to the end. And it does seem like we're probably like we said before the game started, right? Ecstasy, they're already on the way. When it comes to MVP, I think that's already on lockdown. But let's see how all the teams are doing, how going to shape up, right? How things are going to end in this last two games. Right now, getting themselves 14 points from this game. They got four eliminations, and I think that tells a lot of the story around them just taking things a bit easy. Harsh Esports on the other end, it was a bit more aggressive from them. They got seven eliminations, six knocks. You can see the amount of damage they had, more than double what Ragnar had, but they just couldn't seal the game through. All right, so great gameplay all through right there. I mean, you can see that Hash Esports player 4 getting himself 5 eliminations for his team. Now that's 5 out of 7. So my man his back should be hurting right now. He was doing the heavy lifting for his team, getting those eliminations and making sure that they can push forward. I would like to see what this means for them overall on that leaderboard, or if even him, if he probably would get into that top 5. Yes, we know that, guys like, Almar have, I think 50 eliminations now, but there are players in that top 5 who are still around that 20 range. So if player 4 has been consistent throughout the entire weekend, he probably maybe has a bunch of those eliminations. But look at the other guys, Creed, as well as R1 Zoom MVP, and new player also got into the conversation too as well. But what does that mean for the entire leaderboard? Of course, you can see right there all the way in the second page, XTC, regardless, still got a couple of points to themselves. Not the best of games, but they still got 4 eliminations and got 5 total points. So they still got themselves into that top six. And Tribe, as well as 3 Crowns and 14th, all finished below them. So really nothing changed. In fact, if anything, the gap is a bit wider. So we can start screaming out congratulations to XTC at this point. But all the way in that top, you do see Ragnar getting 14 points. We'll see how that shapes up the entire leaderboard. Harshis was getting 11. And overall leaderboard, you can see my man Amazinho has increased the tally now to 52. Now remember, I said, can he get to 60? That's the question. His carry ratio is still just on that .4. Will we see his damage get to 10k and maybe 60k? I think it's possible. I think my man could do it. Right now he's just playing for respect. Put some respect on my name. That's all he's playing for. Peachy is in second spot with 26 eliminations. Now, they are 26 points from 200. 26 points from 200. Guys, it's done. It's done. I don't think it's mathematically possible at this point again for any other team. Yeah, I mean, 2 games. Even if they got themselves, 30 points in each game, that I'm talking about 3 Crowns, and XTC decides not to play, I don't think it will be enough. I still don't think it will be enough. So yeah, I think right now we can start saying congratulations. We'll find out how the next game goes. Will 3 Crowns bottle it? Because I felt like they cannot bottle this particular one, right? We'll find out when we come back for the 4th game of the night. See you soon. All right, guys, we're about to hop into the next game right now. So we'll be jumping into Priest and Crowns, and we'll see who takes this one home.
Ladies and gentlemen, in case you're wondering why is Crowns looking down, I'm not looking down because I'm sad. I'm looking down because that's where the microphone mute button is. But anyway, we're about to get into Miramar. Things are starting to end. This is the penultimate game of the night. How are you feeling about this, Priest?
I mean, yeah, there's been a whole lot of haramball today. I'm not gonna lie. I've been seeing a lot of, terrible. It's been terror. It's been terror. It's been terrorizing. I've been watching a whole lot of terror. Even that last game was terrorizing to watch. Neon Rising was terrorizing to watch. Arab T terrorizing to watch. I really thought someone would capitalize, but when there's a whole lot of terror, you have Ragnar winning chicken dinners. That's really what happens when there's a whole lot of terrorizing going on. Ragnar would just go in and win a chicken dinner. But can they do more of the same in Miramar? I mean, playing path is good, cuts right through the middle. Who is it going to favor, though? Is it going to favor those teams that love to get it while it's hot? Or is it going to favor those that love to play it slow and steady?
I hope to have answered, and I'm really hoping everyone's hope has got perfect. I feel like this is the perfect time. You guys are about to listen to about a minute of Crowns blazing itself because I called it, bro. I do not know why people are still hoping that one miracle was going to happen that get there next to get close. I do not know how anybody thought that was going to happen, but hey, I understand that hopeless tablet that is going out in bad days. So of course, there is a little bit of hope flying here and there. So the way that is going fast is very nice. Obviously, Myanmar is the center. You know, see how they're going to be happy for the and a perfect circle to go alongside it. And this circle is only perfect until we get that hard shift. I think this is also one of those circles that, as of zone 4, you should get a very, very hard shift, and that would dictate where the game wants to end. If it's going to go towards the south, or if it's going to go towards the east, or if it's going to finish up towards the north. And you get the idea.
Yeah, I mean, I like this play zone. It's really going to test the ability of some of these teams to make early decisions, right decisions. It's going to test their resolve for those teams that are going to be landing outside of the circle. I think Four Portions and Vibe will get a little bit of a trick stop as they are making their own moves towards, I think, Ladriela and Monte Nuevo. They are going to be caught in the middle of that spot there.
Ah,
Yeah, come
is he
on,
gonna do
man.
it?
How greedy can you get, dog? Like, come on now. That's greedy, bro. That is greedy. I mean, you have to calculate for bullet drop as well. It's a 45
With an
ACP, right?
ACP?
There's got to be bullet drop now. You have to
I don't even think he
calculate for
goes
that
that
one.
far. I don't think an
I
ACP
don't,
is even going to shoot that far. Yeah, there is no calculation you want to do there. But nonetheless, I guess it is fun to try, regardless. But nonetheless, Four Portions, the teams that has actually seemed to be jumping up a little bit, and it looks like they might be in
yeah,
contention with RT Sports if RT Sports is going to continue to play like that. And this was something I saw earlier, 10-11. They did get landed, they are sharing that drop location there with the side of Athlete Gaming, and they would lose Bego early on in the game to that knock. And instant thirst too coming through from the side there of Athlete Gaming. I wonder what they want to do from here on out. Are they going to keep looting, or do you think they have that little bit of fear in their minds that, oh my god, 10-11 ecstasy is in the
yeah. I
vicinity?
mean, I really want to see if they have the cojones. I really want to see if Athlete Game have the cojones to see it through. But I think Bego was a floating player. He got caught out because he was a floating player. Ecstasy, they're just having fun, and Bego is just all by himself in water. In this area, I think his water treatment. I think he's all by his lonesome. He gets caught out, making a rotation there. But Ragnar and Harshi Sports, they are going to be trading off Rage. Tries to wrap things up. Player 4 getting dropped off as well. Frontis also getting knocked away, and they could be in some major, major trouble here. Can Ragnar actually close this out? Oruka is behind, and they are trying their best to make something happen, but it looks like Amar will get a drop on Great, and now the grenade is sent over. Archie Sports trying to close this down on Ragnar. Ragnar have They're coming off a chicken dinner. Morale is high right now. I think they will be able to hold this line if they can. If they are provided with the right tools, I think they will be able to make it happen. But Alucard and Naruk are working hand in hand on the ground floor, trying to close this out, trying to make sure that Hashi Sports will not send any more of their team back into the lobby. But Hashi Sports do have the numbers advantage, and I think they will utilize this. I think they don't want to give away this angle into that corner. Naruka is just by the edge there, and Harsh, I think they might be able to turn this around.
And finally, they do get another knock. I've been wondering why they've not isolated this one player since morning, but it does look like Rage would fall to that side swipe coming through from side of 4, or well, of Naruka, or if it was Phronesis. Regardless, it doesn't matter. Athlete Gaming out as 10-11 exerts their revenge. The side here of Athlete Gaming also going out early on in the first, or sorry, in this fourth game. Oh, wow. Peachy, don't do that! Vibe Gaming.
How greedy.
They are showing us why they didn't show up for the first 3 games, and I guess it's a Vibe Gaming. You're excused, man. You are excused, but Peachy, bro.
Yeah, that was a greedy stuff to watch. That was so greedy from Peachy. But interesting dynamic here is Ragnar is 2 points below Unsullied Army, and they have played 2 less matches. Haram at its finest. Haram at its finest. I think Ragnar finishes above Unsullied Army. Who in the comment section wants to take that bet? Ragnar finishes above Unsullied Army. Who wants to take that bet? Kraus, you want to take that bet?
So.
100 USD. 100 USD on Ragnar finishing above Unsullied Army. 100 USD. Let's take that. Who wants to take that bet?
100 USD is coming out of Fire's pocket. But But yeah, I don't think.
If you guys heard, Fire screamed in the back. We heard it.
But nah, I don't think Ragnar finishes above 3 on Solid Army. The reason why I'm saying that is because I feel like on Solid Army are survival specialists, and for those final four teams, even up to Dark Esports or Dark Knights, we kind of see them playing the surviving game, and for them, it's just a case of, I think in that situation, it's gonna be down to who survives the best to finish at the top of the leaderboard, if you get what I mean. But nonetheless, we're still seeing fights happen.
Loves best.
Maybe. Who knows? But it's more like who survived last, laugh best in this case. And I don't think any of those teams on the bottom there are going to out-survive on Solid Army there. I mean, if not for that chicken dinner of the last game, I mean, I don't think Ragnar would have been anywhere close. And you can already see them, going into this next game now. And for a team that's just coming off of a chicken dinner, going out already with, just the one elimination, it's, that's not it.
Yeah. But I gotta respect them still. Like it's a new team. Ragnar is a relatively new team, and I have to respect the turn up that they have had. And it looks like Neon Rising will be trading off against 3 Crown Esports. Merrick will not be seeing the end of this game. He will be sent back into the lobby. Morskis has been knocked away as well. But more pressure is also being mounted against the guys from 3 Crown Esports. Can Quilla turn this around? Again, it's going to take a lot, though, for 3 Crown Esports to capitalize on this. They do have a lot of angles. They do have a lot of positions. Quilla keeps getting pushed back. He's trying to go for the flush, but they are not letting him make it happen. Neon Rising, they have a plan here. Can they execute the Morstees? If he can make his way through, it would be a big boost for Neon Rising if they can see the end of this game with all 4 players. I mean, if Morstees gets eliminated, I don't see them doing any better as it stands. But again, I really want them to turn up. I really think they still have something in the tank, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Neon Rising rise.
Really hoping that is the case. Arise is what Payne is going to be staying there to Morstees as he gets him back up on his feet. The trade is not initiated in that case, as 3 Crowns still find themselves on the disadvantage. They do have the high ground for our advantage, but with respect to numbers, they do not have much of that to work with. Dark Knights and the side of Tribe Warriors continue to trade knocks back and forth. They are trying to play gatekeepers onto the top of San Martin, but it does look like Tribe Warriors have been taking out their players one after the other. I do not know why you're running out in the open, but once again, I guess it's just them having fun. Tribe Warriors. They are a team that I've been keeping my eye out on for the entirety of the competition, and so far so good. I'm enjoying the way they've been playing.
Yeah, I mean they're the better half of a consistent team. They are consistently not finishing games. I think that is what they have
Mm,
under their belt. They start the game, but they don't finish it. And I think that's just what keeps them from being a little bit more exceptional. Seeing the
hmm
game through. I think they've been struggling with that, but they have been very, very fun to watch. And hopefully, I will see them turn up even better in the range splits because that's where the conversation is already starting to shift. I see a couple of comments talking about the range split and how teams are going to be performing. Is this Neon Rising chasing 3 crown? Oh, Cloud peeks out again, almost getting dropped off, sways into the right hand side. Jump shot
Stop
is good, but
it.
it doesn't work. More pain will make 3 crowns feel more pain. And Nexus again will be the last one left up onto that right hand side. He peeks out, and more Steves will close it out. This is the action we're looking for. 3 crown esports may just lose that top 2 position. Neon Rising being the thorn in their side. A big decision being made here by Neon Rising to rise to the occasion. And 3 crown esports did not see this on their bingo card. Quilla hops into the vehicle, tries to escape.
You're not
Will
going
he
anywhere,
escape? No,
bro.
he will not. More chicks will send him back into the lobby. 3 crown esports will be cut down. The gap at the top will extend even further, and 3 crown esports will not add any points.
10 points or make that 9 points separates 3 crown in second from the team in fourth, but would dig touch on that. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to just keep going on my analysis. It's just business as usual. 10-11 just clearing teams, 8 eliminations that they already have. Amar already on 6.
Jesus.
Hey, what else do I need to see? Anyway, but as I was saying, for the side here of 3 crown esports, there is so much on the line. Just 9 points separates them from third position, which means there is a chance they could finish fourth. Oh, sorry, from fourth position, which means they can finish fourth in the tournament where they started off number one on day one, or well, pretty much number two on day one. But nonetheless, they are not playing so well. Tribe Warriors also go out and 14th gaming. They are rubbing their palms together. They are so ready for this. Miramar is one of 14th gaming's strongest maps, but we do see the side there of RT Sports taking the fight towards 10-11 Ecstasy, who are down to just the last player in Crusader.
Yeah, you're right.
Need for need.
14th Gaming you're right, they may be licking their lips at this one, because I'm seeing them winning this chicken dinner. If it's not them, it's Neon Rising or Four Portions, one of those two teams. Four Portions will get another drop. Peachy's the one that locks it in, and they are up to 6 eliminations. They are low-key going under the radar. Here comes Crusader now, trying to deal with the guys from Arab team. Can he make it happen? Sways into the left-hand side. Turns his back to the opposition, but he got away with it, and now that will change things around, but Arab team will close this out, and Ecstasy will go back into the lobby, but not without eliminating 2 teams.
That's 8 eliminations that they were able to accrue, going out in 8th position as well. So they still get themselves one extra points to put up on the board, which means that that gap is definitely going to go so high unless 14th Gaming wins this game. But that being said, 14th Gaming need just 5 points, or let's make that 6. Actually, 5. No, make that 6 actually, because they have less placement points. But they need 6 points, really. That is what they need to fight for in order to overtake the side of 3 crowns. And I'm pretty sure 14th Gaming is a team that doesn't just want just the 6 points as they start to go toe to toe with the side there from Four Portions. One player already down in Pitchy. You do know Four Portions. If Four Portion loses this fight, the agenda is just going to continue.
Yeah, you're right. The agenda will definitely continue because 98K did get the drop on him, but Afro Esports as well will get a drop on Creed. And unfortunately, he will be getting shadowed with some bullets there. Swartz closes his out. And 3 eliminations so far for Arab T. Hopefully, they will be able to maintain that top 5 because currently they are tied on points with 4 portions. Peachy has gotten picked up. And Arab T, they did lose one earlier on, and hopefully that doesn't cost them going forward. We're down to 7 teams, 26 players in the cut, and 14th Gaming have the opportunity right now to leapfrog over 3 Crown Esports, pushing them into third place. Arab T, on the other hand, do they have what it takes to crack into the hundreds? I mean, I would be impressed if they do actually make at least 100 points. I would be impressed. by that. But the way they're playing their rotation, they might stumble upon the guys from four portions or Neon Rising in one of these rotations. It's a big chance of that happening. And I don't know if they are gonna be confident enough to take the engagement because they are a man short against any of these teams. But I want to see if that's going to be the case.
And I think one other thing that we're seeing here in the lobby is like it just seems like everything that concerns strategy or pretty much critical thinking really has been thrown and tossed out of the window. Because I mean, this is the second to the last game of the tournament. We are in zone 3 now, I guess. We're about to see that heavy zone shift. Yep, we're just about to see that zone shift, the heavy one. Just said stage 4, we get that 4, or sorry, phase 4 will be that heavy shift. And there's just 7 teams alive. You start to wonder what exactly is going on, what's in the permutates. These are questions that we're asking because normal Miramar game shouldn't even be this empty at this stage.
Yeah, but I think it's everybody's going all out right now, and four portions getting decimated by by 14th gaming. That's a good grenade, a very solid grenade. Master Uguay, just a little bit of the corner. They have no idea. Get the first drop on it. Tries to go for the second drop as well. Skinny, oh Skinny, four portions somehow turn this around, but Skinny will be skinned alive. That was very close. 24K. Had no idea that the ops were in the building right there, but that was very close. That was very, very close. 14th Gaming doing everything right in that final push. And somehow they managed to scale through.
14th Gaming will thank their stars because they were seeing stars for a quick second there. 3 players down to the tenacity really coming through from that S12K in the hands of Skinny, but unfortunately not quite able to execute it. I mean, this is like what you guys really is gonna take notes from Cloud, bro, because I don't know, you are not putting off that clutch factor. We've really seen a couple players pull off that clutch factor. Cloud happening to be one of those in the grand finals, but I've not really seen everyone just keeps doing 3. Come on, get that last one. But 14th Gaming would only suffer 1 casualty, so that's why I said they would thank their stars, because right now they still have 3 players to play for the rest of the game.
Yeah. And looks like Unsullied Army may have some answers here for Neon Rising, and here they come. Layla sways into the right, immediately gets cut down to size. Unsullied Army had no idea that the ops were in the area, and I know for a fact they will hightail it and turn around. I don't think they'd want to commit to this one. The sprays continue though, but they have circled back into the corner. And the baby over to that right-hand side sends a couple of shots, but it's not enough. He should have got the knock. That would have changed everything here, but I don't. This is bad positioning from Unsullied Army. They can't hold these type of angles with just 3 players. It's going to be too much stress, and the baby immediately getting swept off his feet there back into the lobby like it's a marriage proposal. He didn't expect that one. Neon Rising on the front foot. This is the Neon Rising that I was expecting to see. 6 eliminations to the good. They haven't lost any players. Everything is working the exact way they want it to work, and hopefully 4864 will not give away his position here.
The question is, I'm trying to understand what that play coming through from Neon Rising is. I'm trying to understand if they're trying to find an off angle. Okay, yeah. I was trying to understand it because 4864 not taking shots there. I feel like it was only a matter of time before it does get spotted. The vehicle explosion might be what the case would be. Pop the tires first, You see this, Neon Rising. Your teammate is actively shooting at somebody. You took him down to 1 HP. Where are you? Push up to the ridge. Take that player out. The YDX is nowhere near because you've taken out a baby who is in the warehouse. Now your teammate has found an off angle. He's telling you that player is 1 HP. Both of you are still up there. As how now? Bring that 3 players up there. None of you could push up to 4864 to take him out. This is how you guys mess things up.
Funny thing the funny thing is they actually allowed DYDX to escape. They allowed him to escape. He's always escaping. I don't know how he always does it. He's always the last guy alive for Unsullied Army.
Because it's the off angle. It's the off angle. We saw him with that 8x scope on the Mini 14 with an attempt to assist a baby. We know it's not going to work. You have an 8x scope, but that player is even barely rendering. All right. I mean, survival of the fittest, isn't it? Who survives the most?
No, strategic. Stop it. It's strategic, Crowns. I'm telling you, these guys, they have strategies. You just haven't locked in. And RFT now setting their sights on Neon Rising hill to hillside, trading one for the other. Can they use the smokes? It's all about the smokes now. If you smoke well enough, I think they will be able to get out of this without losing anyone. I think they will be able to survive this. Honestly, if they have the right amount of smokes, they should be able to survive this exchange. Mornax playing off the back end. Do they want to commit? I think RFT want to commit. I mean, I respect it, but I don't think it's wise though. Committing
I,
this far. I don't think it's wise committing far this by the edge of the circle. I mean, I respect it, but I don't think it's wise. I just don't think it's wise because they don't have four players. That's the only reason why I don't think it's wise if they want to commit to that one, just because they're a man short. Neon Rising have one extra player than them, and they're back to full strength. So I think this is the smarter choice from RFT. The zone is still big. We're in phase four. We still have six teams. You have time to get a better angle inside of the zone and hold a better position.
Fair enough, fair enough. It does look like trouble is looming on that western edge of the new circle as 24K and the rest of 14th Gaming anticipate and welcome the players there from Afro Esports into the zone. Afro Esports currently seated in 7th. They're one of those teams that have also gone under the radar there. Same thing with Vanguard. But Vanguard, they're already back in the lobby in this game. Afro Esports trying to find a way into the circle, but 24K and 14th Gaming, they are holding a very long and effective split at the moment on that west.
Yeah, that split looks very tasty for 14th Gaming. They are doing exactly what they need to do, but they are still, I think so. I think 1 point shy, but I think they've done enough so far to overtake the guys from Three Crown Esports. Now, that last game is going to be a very interesting battle because don't forget, it is now a matter of points that separates your prize pools. That's really what it is
Mm.
now. 1 point can take you from 150,000 to 100,000. 150,000 to 100,000. All it takes is one extra point, too, and that is the point that 14 Gaming want to use to launch into the final game. That is what the conversation for the next game is going to be. If Three Crown can stand up and rise, and it looks like Neon Rising will be getting an angle as well. Afro Esports in trouble. Neo getting knocked
Yeah,
away there. He's been called out, and that is a dangerous, dangerous play. 98K gets dropped off into the corner there, but I think he will be getting picked up.
yeah, he definitely has to get picked up. They have all the time. I think 14th Gaming are the only team in the zone right now. Every other team is outside the circle, outside the play area. So it's just a case of who is going to try to meet 14th Gaming in the zone. But it looks like Neon Rising are going to take that initiative as they will be heading up straight up to the position being held by 24K and 14th. Really, I'm looking forward to seeing if Neon Rising will be able to defend this spot. But nonetheless, Unsolid Army will go out to the blue zone, and RFT Esports and Afro Esports will continue to lock horns on that northern edge of the circle.
Yeah, 24K still leading the charge. Atardo will drop a big dime on one of the guys from, I believe, Afro Esports in that corner as well. Afro Esports have been caught between a rock and a hard place. There's a hard shift going on from them. 14 Gaming will trade them off. Master Uguay with the angle there drops that one over to the side, and Igugu again will take that up all the way to the express. And Artichoke unfortunately drove a little bit too close to the sun. He will be getting burned, but I think he can still get picked up. There's still some time there. I think it will be getting picked up. It's a big opportunity for that to happen. Neon Rising on the other side there. Master Uguay did do a little bit of peeking. Will take some damage as well. Atarodo, I don't know how he got swept away there. That was very, very close. He's got 15 seconds to get that pick, and he has to pick between this guy or the other guy. Oh, and that is what happens when you don't choose. He was stuck between picking Artichoke or Atarodo, but in the moment of trying to pick, hey, this guy or this guy, he's also getting shot at. Play zone is already here, so he doesn't even get to pick any of them. He will leave Atarodo to succumb to his injuries, and that's going to be the end of that player.
I don't like the way Neon Rising is playing this. I feel like they could have applied more. They should be applying more pressure onto the side of 14th Gaming, even if it's just going to be nades, because they already hear the shots coming in through from their left hand side. So they do know that they're sharing the top of that hill with 14th Gaming. And it's now going to be very oddly poetic if 14th Gaming end up, swiping this game away from their hands, because they do have the numbers advantage. They have all four players alive, and they should be able to take out the side of 14th Gaming, provided they start to apply pressure. But we do have to remember that Harsh Esports are somewhere around the vicinity, and they are looking like they're open to play spoilers.
Yeah, big chance for them to play spoiler, very big chance. But 10 eliminations from Neon Rising. Now, this is the Neon Rising I know. This is the performance I expected today. I expected this today. I expected them to turn up. I mean, this is a big opportunity for them to crack into at least 100 points. That for me, that would be a good way for them to close out this competition. Possibly, I think they also still have a chance to get into that top three and still get a piece of that prize pool, because that is worth they have to play for going into the running of this competition. But right now they're looking very solid. They're looking very good. 14th Gaming on the other side haven't been able to crack inside. I think they did try to lock in there, but Master Ugo is not going to be so lucky. He will be sent back into the lobby. 411 will get a drop as well on more chicks. We'll send on 98K. We'll send him back into the lobby. Again, so many engagements going on. 14 Gaming is getting a knock, but Hashi Sports getting confirmations. It is so diabolical what is going on out there.
And I think this is where Neon Rising is going to have to calm down. And that was something I thought they would do, since they were not going to push up onto the side of 14th Gaming. I thought they would actually have to wait for the side of Ash Sports to try to make their entry into the circle, given that they do not have that circle advantage. And it's only a matter of time. Ash Sports are going to be the ones that are going to decide who actually wins this game, because this position that they have is one where they could play a whole lot of spoilers. But anyway, it does look like Neon Rising will start to find some of the players there from 14th Gaming. 98K looking for a peak for the side of Morstees, but no, Morstees getting the advantage over him. That is one more player down for the side of 14th Gaming. Neon Rising looking to welcome the side of RC Sports, but player would make it into that zone unscathed, and then 14th Gaming would go out. We're down to the final two teams. Neon Rising lose one, make that two. It is now a 2v3 up against the side of Hershey Sports.
Hashi Sports looking very strong right now, but Neon Rising have the high ground advantage, and I think Nax will be getting picked up. Again, this should work for Neon Rising. I don't think they need to come downhill. I think they have a little bit of the zone on this hillside position, and this is a big opportunity for them. Ooh, 419 with a good spray over to Morstees, almost getting him knocked away, though. That could be very dangerous for them if they do get caught out, but all eyes will be on the guys from Hashi Sports as they are making the advance. Again, it gets very tricky for them. I don't know why nobody is sending shots towards 419 the moment he peaks up to get that drop on. But that's a big grenade for Morstees. Tries to close the gap again, tries to play off the left-hand side, and Monarchs, unfortunately, will be discovered. He's sent away. Neon Rising need this chicken dinner. They need to make it happen. Morstees with a big spray over to that right-hand side. Gets the drop on Rage. Doesn't seem to make it happen there. The Mini 14 from 419 continues to keep Morstees at bay. He can't seem to find a way through. A grenade, perfectly timed, will get the job done. Chops it over to that left-hand side. It might get the job done. Unfortunately, Monarchs will be sent back into the lobby. Unfortunate scenario for them again. Morstees very close. I don't know why More Pain is not doing enough. Somehow, Harshy Sports have made it up the hill.
1v1. It's 1v1. Player 411 up against More Pain, as More Pain trying to see if he can get trying to see if he can get an elimination out there, but he does seem to be very confident with that DBS in hand, going for the push. 411 with the AUG, trying to see if he can find the wipe, and indeed he will. As Neon Rising lose it all with the high ground advantage to the side of Hashi Sports. I am not the one that is going to break this down. Fire, please take it away.
Man, how did Hashi Sports get up that hill and win that game? Like, for me, it was in the bag for Neon once I saw the position they had. But kudos to Hashi Sports. Let's not take it away from them. And Neon as well, also doing quite well for themselves too as well, getting into that position in the first place, getting a whole bunch of eliminations. Now Hash Esports worked really hard, especially 411, getting himself into those positions to grab that chicken dinner. He had 4 eliminations to his name, and the total eliminations they had as a team was 8. So kudos to them for getting the second to the chicken dinner, the second to the last game of the night. But guys, I mean, it has been a crazy game. Of course, 3 crowns bustling it in that particular game, and being leapfrogged by 14th. So 14th is now in second place, and there is a chance going into the last game that Tribe could get into the conversations too as well. But let's talk about the head-to-head between Neon and Harsh Esports. You can see both of them getting 18 points. Okay, so regardless of that chicken dinner going to Harsh Esports, they both got 18 points, so they a bit tied on that end. But Neon getting themselves 12 eliminations. And I think it's a step for Neon 2 as well, because if you remember, before, I think before yesterday's games, they were in the bottom half. They weren't doing really well at all, but now they've begun to show a little bit of, the performances that people expect from them. Our MVP of this particular game, once again, is that man, Amazinho. And I see it, guys, at this point. Congratulations to him. I don't think it is mathematically possible again for anyone else to grab that MVP. I'm not even like I'm just saying, like, even if someone else was to go and get 40 kills, okay, 40 kills will probably catch up. Okay, maybe it's still possible mathematically. I don't know, but regardless, I don't think it's possible for anyone to go and grab solo 30 kills and leapfrog his position. So he already has it. He's already the MVP of the tournament. Congratulations to him. And he's just having fun at this particular point in time. We'll see what that means overall for the leaderboard, if they have crossed, or if they will be able to cross that 200 mark, because I think that they are currently sitting down on 182 points as a team. Let's take a look at the leaderboard so far. You can see that both Neon and Hush Esports finished that game with 18 points. Of course, Neon, you could have got some more. Regardless, 14 Gaming has been able to grab some points to move them up on that leaderboard. XTC finishing that game with 9 points, boosting them all the way up into 182 points. We'll see that leaderboard just in a few seconds. RLT also doing quite well for themselves. Was again, Full Portions was in a fight that I really enjoyed. It came so close. Skinny came so close to getting that wipe, but in the end, it was just not to be. All right, so I mean, a great game from everyone else, and you can see the overall MVP of the night. We talked about Kamazinho getting 60. We talked about him getting 60. He's currently sitting down on 58. We talked about him getting 60 and 10k damage. And my man is currently sitting down on 58. Man, just would you look at that? But regardless, all the players are also putting in the work. Now, I'm not showing the leaderboard for now. We'll show that later on. Okay, let's keep the suspense going. When we're back with some more action on the final game. See you soon. So we're back again for the final game of the night. Whew, here's where we find out who finishes second and third because somehow there's still a battle there. Tribe is still in context, and I think even four pushes too as well. Okay, so let's head over to Priest and Crowns, and I'll catch you after the game.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are about to get into the final game of the Harmattan split. It's been dry, it's been cold, it's been harshy with that chicken dinner we just saw from Harshy Sports. But we're about to get into the final. Erangel, Priest, overall thoughts on the final so far?
I mean, it's been an amazing performance from Ecstasy. Can't take it away. I personally, I just wanted, I didn't want to like witness like terror ball. I didn't want to witness this terrorism. I'm not gonna lie. I just didn't want to witness terrorism. I just wanted things to be at least, just a little taste of, some balance. But unfortunately, that's not what we got. But hopefully, this last game, we're going to see something unexpected.
Yeah, hopefully we do see something unexpected. We've not really seen 10-11 Ecstasy play as well as they have in the first, two games of the day, where they had Danny Brown in that mix. Looks like that sub Bego coming in. I do not know. Having a player who has not played in the finals at all for the first 2 days, jumping on the third day, one can kind of see why there might be a little bit of a drop off with respect to how well that player is surviving. Doesn't quite have a feel of the lobby at the moment.
Yeah, big plays, big plays that I'm looking out for. But I want to be impressed in this last game. I really want something out of the ordinary, coming forward. I
At least
don't
chicken
know
dinner.
now. Currently, as it stands, we have 14th Gaming, we have Three Crown Esports, and we have I think Tribe as well. All of these guys battling for that top three finish. I don't know how it's going to look. I don't know how the leaderboard is going to look after that last game that we saw. But all eyes will be on those teams: Three Crown Esports, 14 Gaming, Tribe. All eyes will be on them. They cannot afford to make any mistakes. Anything right now will hurt them. And Tribe are already starting very, very nicely. They have gotten themselves those first blood and touch. Unfortunately, will be getting knocked away. But I think his teammates will be able to secure that drop on them.
Well, we'll see about that. Vibe Gaming finally get one elimination today as they go out once again early on in this final game of the day. Just trying to see there, yeah, with respect to points, trying to understand where we stand. But man, I guess that's not mathematics for me to take over. But I feel like 14th Gaming did enough in that last game. And actually, they did do enough in that last game. So I believe second place should be 14th Gaming at the moment. I think Three Crowns should still be able to sit in third. Tribe Warriors in fourth, and now we're keeping our eyes on those three teams as we head into this final game of the day.
Yeah, but I think as it stands, Three Crown Esports and Tribe, I think there's like 1 point
Yeah, it
between them
has
or
to be.
so because Tribe has already secured eliminations in this game. Tribe has already gotten 3 eliminations. Unfortunately, they have traded one player, but in
Actually,
that exchange, they've gotten 3 extra points, and I think that puts them. I think 1 point behind Three Crown Esports, but again, I can't do the
hmm,
math. My head,
nah,
I'm not ready
I
for
don't
that
think
right
so.
now, but I really want to know, how things will turn out. But it looks like 14th Gaming will continue as well to keep the pressure on because now they have added 3 points to themselves as well. Further
Mhm.
extending that gap, I believe they have over the guys from Three Crown Esports.
Yep, Fortis Gaming definitely puts in the numbers in the work. 3 more points to stay above the side of Three Crown Esports. I know Tribe Warriors didn't actually get enough points in that Miramar game, so I think they will still be fourth. They went out with just, I believe, 1 point or maybe two. If we're going to look at the placement points that they got as well, so I think they're still, even with the 3 eliminations, they're probably like still 3-4 points behind the side there of Three Crown Esports. But nonetheless, all of this is just to tell you, Three Crown Esports, you need to be on your toes going into this final game. You cannot go out before any of those two teams we've mentioned in 14th and the side there of Tribe Warriors. And right now, both teams do seem to have gotten up to a very strong start.
Yeah, they have. I mean, this is exactly what Three Crown Esports do not need right now. They do not need to be seeing, 14th Gaming and Tribe Warriors on the feed getting points. This is something that could, I think, would affect their morale. Right now, this early in the game, already seeing points go to the opposition. Ragnar and Vive sent into the lobby. We're having that scanty like game again. 13 teams in zone one. It is too early. Bodies have already dropped. It is going to be high risk, high reward for any of these teams that actually decides to take the game by the scruff of the neck and go forwards. But again, Ecstasy could still be a thorn in any of these teams' side. If Ecstasy and Three Crown Esports, exchange bullets earlier than expected, it could, prove detrimental to Three Crown Esports or Ecstasy's, like, final run in. Knowing them, I know that they'll probably want to win this last game just for the plot. Just for the
Mm.
plot, they will probably just want to win this last game just for the sake of doing it. But again, I think 14 Gaming just want it more. I think they just want it a little bit more than Three Crown Esports. Hopefully, Arab T, Four Portions, or Neon Rising will do something special in this game as well.
Something special really is what we are looking for. But anyway, we are seeing everyone just try to hold on their fort. The two teams that can tell the fate of pretty much every other team, or one of the two, or two of the teams that can tell the fate of every other team in this lobby, happen to be in the same drop location, and that is Ecstasy and the side of Athlete Gaming, finding themselves close to each other there at Yasnaya Poliana. Other than that, every other person just seemed to be away from trouble in their drop location, looking to find a way into the circle. Only 13 teams left in this last game, and we're looking forward to seeing how this one is actually going to end. I'm keeping my eye out on those three teams, trying to watch their rotation, see what is going on. And with respect to that circle, it is a very tricky circle. One cannot even tell where it's going to end from now.
I'm curious. That final third of this zone is going to be something for the eyes. Is going to be something real for the eyes. Vanguard Esports, I think, hopefully they will finish strongly, at least have more points than Umoja Gaming, hopefully. But there's a lot of there's a lot of conspicuous place that most of these teams have indulged in, Afro Esports being one of them. But I think Bego has a sight line on Athlete Game here. I think he knows that they are there. He's probably going to wait for him to peek in. That's an interesting nade. Just tossed over the
Ooh.
side. And take a look at that. Athlete Game are playing inside of Yasnaya a little bit earlier. But I think they should have done this, from the jump, get a little bit of intel, pick some utilities, do a little bit of a stalemate, do something different. But
Or at
it's the
least help
last
us
game.
reduce 10-11's gap, eh? Land on them from day one. Ah. But anyway, nonetheless, we're still getting movements coming in throughout here in Yasnaya. Both teams really under not too much pressure as the zone still favors that position. Other than that, it's other places where we're seeing a little bit of clusters here and there. Afro Esports and Tribe Warriors very close to each other around the school area, but it looks like Afro Esports will be starting to make their exits before the side of Tribe Warriors decides to come crash them once more. Three Crown Esports finally making their road into the circle. They do seem to foresee a northern finish on this one as we see them on that northeastern edge of the circle. It does look like they might be in a bit of a car chase with the side there of Vanguard Esports on that northeast, but nonetheless we'd see how they would handle that one, because once again the ball is really in their court and they cannot hit it wrongly.
The ball is in their court. And that expression tells you all you need to know. Your future is in your hands. And what future does Three Crown Esports have in this lobby? They cannot afford to make any mistakes. They started the day quite ahead. They started the day very strongly. They started the day in second place, not too far away from that prize pool. But as it stands right now, they are really in precarious waters. Tribe Warriors and 14 Gaming have changed the narrative for them with that performance that they've had across these past couple of games. Neon Rising, this could be their own way to also turn things around, maybe click into that top five. Arab T as well. But Four Portions will be setting their sights onto the guys from Afro Esports, and that will be the opportunity they're looking for. They will decide to crash the party. And now there is more to be done here. Here comes Skinny, packing it in. Grenade is perfectly launched. Oh, 4 portions. They did a little bit of a miscalculation there, and that could be the one that will cost them. Skinny
Off angle
sprays
again.
continuously, but he doesn't make the job
Come
easier.
out.
But he does finally get the drop in. Swat getting swapped away. Oh, and he did circle back on that one. Didn't get the job done. We'll try again into the corner. And he first popped the first shot. Gets the second drop. Skinny is on fire right now. Level 9 and Roman. Hopefully they will be able to make something happen there. Roman is going for the reload. And Dax is behind him as well. Might be getting the drop on into that corner. Turned his back to the opposition. Skinny with a clutch for days. And Afro Esports will be barbed. Low cut.
Afro Esports, definitely, those hair definitely gone out of there. 10-11, I thought they were leaving, but it looks like they were looking for different angles on the side of Athlete Gaming. We did see Skinny fail to clutch in the first game, and this time he does seem to have his clutch factor on. Athlete Gaming has been spotted and isolated as one of the players go down. It's going to be Ace. Now they know where the next player is, and I really hope other teams are taking notes to see how they are isolating the play and pushing little by little, isolating one player, push that one player as a whole unit. You see the entirety of 10-11 heading into the next bit. It should I just look like someone is unnecessarily crazy all the time. You see the way they're pushing as a unit, isolating everybody, and that is the next player there from Athlete Gaming going out. That is great. Grenades are not flying into that building from Athlete Gaming, which is something they could do to stop the players there from 10-11 ecstasy, but it doesn't look like they're doing that. They're very confident on the push, go pick for pick, and that ADK falls for that. 10-11 ecstasy, 4 eliminations to the bag. You just don't contest Poliana, Yasnaya Poliana with them.
Yeah, you absolutely don't contest. But they have learned, you know? You're going to learn.
Mm-hmm.
You will learn. You know, I
One way
mean,
or
they
the
had
other.
no knowledge. They had no knowledge about Yasnaya. They had no knowledge. But this is how you get knowledge. This is how you learn. You know, because they didn't make a play there. They just hung around in the building. Ecstasy were going to make a play. They were definitely going to make a play, and they did. You know, so they isolate them one after the other. You know, it's these things. These are the things we see every time. You know, there are certain teams that they will hang around in Yasnaya. They're not going to do nothing. If you don't do anything, we won't do anything. We'll look at each other. You know, everybody's name is going to turn to Lukman, and we're going to just be
Mm-hmm.
vibing, and that's just what it's going to be until the play zone decides to move somewhere, and then we decide to move around and, you know, take the game from there. Reactionary, never proactive, and it looks like Arab T
Ah,
and 14th Gaming will be
ah.
trading blows here. This is not the one I expected to see this early in the game.
It is trouble in the West. There is a trade at the moment. RFT Esports, are they going to be the nail in the haystack here for the side there of 14th Gaming? I wish we could go on to that fight production. Let's go to the West. I need to see what is going on there because that fight is very close. Tribe Warriors looking to increase their damage numbers and elimination count as well, with Skinny going down from 4 portions, but I cannot get my eyes off whatever is happening on that western side because we do see 1v1 from RFT going down now. RFT do seem to be in a lot of vehicles at the moment, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to take this fight because they are looking to take that little bit of a passive approach, but we do see another knock come through. Production, please!
Oh, unfortunate scenes here, but looks like Skinny's going to be sent away back into the lobby, and he will not be getting picked up. Roman on the other side, can he get it done? No, he will not. Skinny goes back into the lobby. Villain as well falls. I would have loved to see that engagement between Arab T and 14th Gaming because it's major. It's a major shift in the game right now. Arab T down to 2, 14th down to 2 as well. Atarodo has been knocked away. Where is the action? Oh my days, production. I would have loved to see this. Oh, Igugu gets a drop
14th Gaming
on
loses
Master
one more.
Ugwe. Oh, that's
It's a
trouble right
1v1.
now. It's one apiece. It's a
It's
1v1.
Villain.
Production.
Oh!
Oh, 14th Gaming
14th is out!
eliminated. We missed all of this. Oh my days. Oh, production team missed all of the action. They missed all of the action. Wow, 14th Gaming go out, but they go out with 9 eliminations. Oh, that is still not good news. It is not good news at all. But Arab T standing on business.
Rah. Three Crown Esports needs to do work in order to overshadow the side there of 14th Gaming. And if you think Three Crown needs to do a lot of work, Tribe Warriors also have to do a lot of work. And Tribe Warriors, they're already down to 3 players left. And we're about to get that first zone shift. RFT, they were indeed the nail in the haystack. And this time, not just in the haystack, in the coffin for the side of 14th game in. As we lose them early, but as you said, 9 eliminations. We asked that very, 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 very repeated question that we get on the final day. Was it enough? That is the question we have now.
We're about to find out. Looks like Harsh Esports are trying to do something about this one. DBS for DBS, but Player Force DBS will have a little bit more oomph to it, and there will be trade-off corner for corner again. That's a good spray, very good spray from 419, but doesn't get the job done. But take a look at that. Easy for 7, already praxing in, and that's going to be good night to Harsh Esports. They are no match for the NPL champions.
At all. And it looks like 10-11, as you said, on the final game, they do like to make a spectacle. And right now, 8 eliminations already. So they continue to rampage across the entirety of the map. And now we see them in the vehicles. I know for one, I can tell you right now, I think I can bet 10-11 is not winning this game. Because right now, with the amount of elims they have, I think they're just going to get into vehicles and start driving around. And that would eventually lead to their demise. But for what it's worth right now, they can basically handle any team that comes across them, because it doesn't look like there's anyone that can stop them so far.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I really just want to know what the play zone looks like first, because I think that still has like some bearing to how they will play going forward. I really want to know. But right now, Vanguard Esports just trying to hold the compound, trying to be in a little bit of a defensive spot. Neon Rising as well, no points secured just yet. 3 Crown Esports have managed to get themselves 1 elimination. But again, for a team at this stage, I was expecting 3 Crown Esports to be up at least a couple of points right now, a couple of eliminations. But unfortunately, they just haven't been able to do much of anything with it just yet. But all eyes will be on them regardless. And right now, Tribe Warriors, they have to be very, very careful. If they can get themselves a chicken dinner, I think that will edge them just over the top, because my eyes are on them right now, Tribe Warriors. If they can see a way through into that final third, I think that will be the deciding moment for them going into the next couple of circles.
Yeah, keep my eye out on them. I'm looking at 3 Crown as well with respect to the strategy that they're bringing into this last game, and we're not seeing them play that edge play that I would normally see from them. We see them holding a more central position, and it just goes to show you that this team, you can tell that where their head is at is right now. This game, we have to out survive Tribe Warriors, but once again, you're gonna need more than placement if you're trying to overtake the side of 14th gaming, who had already put 9 eliminations up on board. 3 Crown, I feel like by the next circle shift, they need to start popping off.
Yeah, they absolutely need to. They need to turn this around. 0.1 elimination, so far. It's not a morale booster for them right now. 3 Crown Esports, knowing them, they should have started to put some work in at least at this stage. But it's still anybody's game here. They have started to send the shots. I believe that is towards the guys from Neon Rising. I think it is Neon Rising that they have. They are sending shots to. If it's not Neon Rising, it should be Neon Rising. Neon Rising and Dark, just a little bit closer. Okay, so taking a look at the zone. Yeah, there's too many variables in this type of circle. It's about to shift. It shifts again, too many variables. 3 Crown Esports sitting quite nicely in the center. Arab T as well towards our southwestern side. Neon Rising a little bit towards the edge. I think they are outside of the circle. It's going to be a hard rotation for them to make, but I think they still find a way to make it through into that next phase.
3 Crown Esports trying to see if they can just let the bullets fly towards the side of Dark Knights there. But it looks like Neon Rising wants to go for that push onto that compound. But nonetheless, Neon Rising really need to take that compound away from Dark Knights. They're not currently in the circle. It's only a matter of time before that circle starts to close. I can see Ecstasy just trying to find teams that are wandering outside the circle, trying to chase the shots. Vanguard might just be in their line of sight. At the same time, I'm looking at the way the players are driving over here. Just shots being traded back and forth. 3 Crown Esports getting that first knock onto... Oh, did they get the thirst as well? Damn! Where was this 3 Crown Esports all day?
Yeah. Yeah, they're starting to feel it, but the way they're feeling it, Exity's feeling it as well, and they want a piece of the action too. And
Ecstasy is not
this is
letting
where
them have
things
it.
could get very iffy. It could get very iffy for either of these teams, but I think Ecstasy have a plan here. Looks like Neon Rising are down to two, but they do have the rest of your squad inside of the zone. Dark Knights also need to find their way into the zone. Vanguard as well. They did lose one earlier, but there was a bit of a trade-off. I don't think Ecstasy want to commit. I don't think you want to commit to this though, because there's a chance the resources will be depleted going forwards, but I think they will be able to wrap this up. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no. Oh, no. I know what this is looking like. I know what this is
Deja
looking
vu.
like. Crowns, I know what they're doing. I know what they're doing right now. You can see it, right? You can see what they're doing. Oh, they've picked up on it. They know where they are. They know where they are. They might want to get a piece of the action here. Yes, they do. Yep, they know. They know it's them. They know it's them. They've made the rotation. They've set their sights on, and Three Crown Esports are not aware.
They are definitely not aware. The only way they would get the memo is once they have one player getting knocked. And you can see Nexus, though, trying to stay a little bit proactive, realizing that there might be teams still coming from behind, trying to see if they can make it in. But 10-11 Ecstasy, they are waiting. They know that Three Crown Esports have been taking some shots. And you can start to see Amar trying to force some peaks coming out there from Three Crown Esports. And the thing with 10-11 Ecstasy is, with the way Amar is driving around, no shots going towards him, you do know that that just gives 10-11 Ecstasy that confidence that they're looking for. Because with this new zone shift, you can tell that their eyes are on this warehouse.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought I would see, Three Crowns stacking inside of a warehouse. I was not
Mm-hmm.
expecting that was not on my bingo card. But if Ecstasy eliminate Three Crowns here, it is not
Oh,
what they would like.
now they
Unfortunate
know.
trade-off. Amar gets dropped away there. Ecstasy getting a little bit too confident, and they will suffer the consequences with immediate effect, and they
Three
still
Crown.
won't fall for the bait. They will not be falling for that bait at all. Three Crown Esports, they do not want to leave the warehouses. They do not want to give away any positions. They know exactly what their strategy is. They want to finish in the top two. They're doing everything right now, but 14th Gaming did finish with
Hmm.
9 eliminations, and Tribe are still very much in it here with 3 players and 4 eliminations as well. Again, they could have something turn out towards the final third of this game, but then if Ecstasy eliminate Three Crown Esports, yeah, that would be the most diabolical spoiler I have seen in the NPL.
I mean, they have everyone's fate in their hands, but Tribe Warriors do have their own fate in their hand. They're making a rotation, and it looks like they might be locking horns with this idea of 10-11 Ecstasy. And indeed, it has started with shots going out. Easy for 7, finding Finger, one of the strongest players on that squad. Looks for Lick Me as well, and he's going to find that as well. Tribe Warriors down to 1, and it is looking like they are at the mercy of 10-11 Ecstasy. They get dropped, and Three Crowns would breathe a sigh of relief as they've just got one more team to overtake. 10-11 Ecstasy. They are playing spoilers. I said they can decide who finishes in second or not. And it looks like they have mercy or shown mercy towards the side of Three Crown Esports. But Tribe Warriors would not be getting the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. It's just absolutely unfortunate, bro. I was not expecting them to pull up on this area and eliminate the guys from Tribe Warriors. But I think with that, they've done the job for Three Crown Esports. I think with that, they've done the job. But now it's a matter of if they can hold them off. And an unfortunate scenario here, but a peek off into the corner, Atarodo goes down. And that is going to be
Ah,
14 eliminations. It is absolute cinema here in the NPL finals, and Ecstasy. They're breathing in the oxygen. They're suffocating the rest of these other teams. 14 eliminations out of the bodies. They're dropping it every single dime. Vanguard Esports trying to find their way in, still outside of the zone. And
nice.
Abubakar will be the next victim. Three Crown Esports will capitalize. Quilla will shut the door on Dark Humor. Back into the lobby they go, one after the other. Three Crown Esports are now trying to occupy what's left of the zone. But Ecstasy is there as well, trying to hold every single position and every single corner.
This is not even nice from Ecstasy. You do not have to be doing this on the final game. They're basically playing hide and seek. Too Cold is the next player to be found by the side of 1011 Ecstasy. And with the way the grenades are flying towards this position, you know that they know. Three Crown Esports very hesitant to make that rotation into the next circle, which is understandable because for the time being, you're not seeing 1011 on that elimination field and you're not hearing shots. So you know they are not occupied right now. You could be their next target. But Too Cold sprays into the smoke and he's going to find easy 4-7 as the rest of 1011 now. Ball is in their court. They're reduced to 2. Grenades to follow. That first might be coming in through. Bego falls as 3 Crown Esports swarm into the new zone. They are starting to take out the side of 1011 one after the other as they're down to Crusader. Very low on HP. He's being spotted by the side of Vanguard, but 3 Crown Esports trying to see if they can finish this on the strong side, and that is 1011 out. 8 eliminations that they have. And they have to face up the strong force of Vampire. Or sorry, make that Vanguard. Ape stops out in the open, but 3 Crown is not having him. DBS to the face, he is out. We're down to 2 Cold in what seems to be a 1v4. And 3 Crown Esports seem to be closing this on a very, very strong note, Priest.
They have done everything right, and I believe with that performance, they will maintain the top 2 spot. They will overtake 14th Gaming once again and get themselves that chicken dinner, closing out the game in perfect fashion. But ladies and gentlemen, I still don't know if they did enough because the guys from 14th Gaming did get 9 eliminations in that game, in this game. So they had already started with a gap, kicking off in this last game. But Fire, take it away.
Nah, Priest, I disagree. I think they did enough, especially because they got the winner chicken dinner, and they had a whole bunch of points too as well. So I think that was enough for them to get that second spot. But kudos to them putting up a performance. I just wish somehow that they did that earlier on. Like, where was this 3 Crowns? Where you needed them? Like something that spark. Come on. Anyways, regardless, kudos and congratulations to XAC. They are the champions. But before we go into what that leaderboard looks like, let's just run through what happened in this previous game. Of course, 52 eliminations. We saw the teams going riot, especially the boys from XTC. I think in my mind they were trying to get out 200 mark. Did they? Guys, tell us down there in the comments if you think that they got that 200. I think they did. Did they get up to 14 kills? I don't know. Because if they got 14 and they finished third, I think that they did get that 200 mark. And has any team finished with 200 points? That's what I don't know. But anyways, regardless, I don't think they did though, because they got. Nah, I think they were on 199. I think they were on 199, guys. I think they were 199. I'm not too sure. But regardless, they got 19 points. And you can see what put them all the way up. There was the eliminations that they were having. And they played absolutely well. And even Bego coming in, to this final game also put in quite a performance too as well. Because I think, it was also part of the push and just kept on being amazing in that particular game. But about 3 Crowns, somehow throughout today, I just felt like something was wrong with them. They weren't just gathering their momentum; they were bottling it. But they held their position quite well. They didn't take the bait. They didn't take the bait when Alma was driving around them, trying to force them to come out and make that mistake. But they kept on holding their own. 98K for 14 Gaming being the MVP of the game, and that's quite surprising. I mean, considering the amount of eliminations that XTC had, I would think that Alma or Crusader will probably have been MVP. But kudos to him. He has led regardless of whatever it is. I do think that they are third. I'll be surprised if Tribe gathered enough points to overtake. But you can see right here the MVPs of this final game. Of course, 98K followed by Nexus again. We saw that elimination where he took out Armor, and I think that really turned things around for them because XTC was smelling blood. But great stuff from Crusader as well as Bego in that particular game. You can see both of them getting 4 eliminations each, and Atta Gungun, of course, for out getting himself 3 eliminations. Okay, so overall on this final games leaderboard, you can see that XTC is on top once again with massive amount of points. They get in 14 eliminations and 5 with that placement points. I thought that they just did enough, but we'll see what that means in the overall leaderboard. Of course, with the winner chicken dinner, 3 crowns have cemented in their spots in that second place. Now, of course, this is not confirmed. This is just me doing quick math in my head and thinking that they have that number 2 spot. Vanguard, of course, having a better game in this particular one, getting 10 eliminations, and 14 gaming just doing quite enough to put themselves in that third position. Okay, so we're waiting for that leaderboard, guys. We're waiting to see who has won the game of the night. No, not who has won. Not who has won. For me, what I'm waiting for is to see who finished third. Okay, we know who has won. We know who has won. We know it's the guys from Ecstasy. There's nobody else who can grab that spot. But the question is, the Tribe Gaming just do quite enough to get that number 3 spot? Did they grab enough points? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so as well, because we saw 14 Gaming get more points. But we'll see what that means at the end of the day. But overall, our MVP of the tournament, the question was, would he be able to grab 60 eliminations? And yes, he did. Even added a bonus for us. My man got 61. And look at the amount of damage that he was having on average in every single game. He was getting an average elimination of 4 eliminations per game. My man was dealing about 676 average damage in every single game, but it was also healing. It was also having average knocks of 3, and also providing the assist. So great kudos to all the players who performed really well throughout the tournament. Of course, we've seen that Alma got himself 61, but also you cannot rule out the other players who were absolutely outstanding. Peachy, of course, we saw him being really smart in his plays and his push. 98k continuously leading the chart for 14 gaming and probably has sealed that third spot for them. Of course, 7 being outstanding too as well and providing support to Alma with his 29 eliminations. And of course, on the other end, it is Tribe, the boys, who are vying for that third spot or maybe even second. Kiss Me providing 25 eliminations. So we are now going to look at the entire leaderboard and find out how things shape up. All right, the second runner up of the night in third place. It is 14 Gaming, and congratulations to them. They have performed quite well. They got 2 winner chicken dinners. They had 91 eliminations, and they had 40 they had 44 placement points and total of 135 points. Kudos to them. They played really well and they fought till the very end. All right, so we're going to now be moving into the first runner up of the night. I'm sure you guys can guess who is the first runner up. Of course, it is 3 crowns, getting 3 winner chicken dinners. Of course, one of them was the final one that they just picked up, and they got 52 placement points, 138. Absolutely outstanding, but not quite enough. Honestly speaking, I think that they could have done a lot more throughout the entire tournament and pushed themselves up. Maybe we'll see them go into the next split doing a lot better for themselves, because they have it in the bag. We could see that with the gameplay, but consistency is just something that's not there. But speaking about consistency, oh, okay, they did it. I probably was missing on my calculation. Okay, I was missing it. I missed it totally. 202. Has any team, guys, tell me down there, has any team in finals gotten above 200 points? Is this a record? Is this a record? Like, remind me. I don't know. But amazing stuff from them. You can see the entire team there just being astounding. Now, how many times have Seven and Bego and Arma seen this? They've done it for so long and they keep on being the leading team in the NPL. You can see 129 eliminations, and that man, Amar, getting himself 62 out of those, almost half. Like, my goodness, his back must really hurt. But regardless, even without him, I still think that they would have still won. I still, because everyone else was putting in the work. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, six. That was absolutely outstanding. We'll be looking at the overall standing pretty soon and see how things shape up and talk about other teams. Tribe Gaming was pushing and trying to see if they can get into that number three spot, but you can see it was just not enough on the final game. They just bottled it, and 14 was able to hold their spot, and 3C with a winner winner chicken dinner was able to get into that second spot. But would you look at that? Look at those eliminations from XTC. 129, six chicken dinners, placement point 73. Wow. Remove the kills, yeah? Remove all the kills, they will still be in top 8. I just thought I should let that sink in. Okay, I just thought I should let that, let's sink in. Alma alone. If Alma is a team, he will be number 10. With number 10 if Armor was a team. Okay. So I just thought I should just, put those stats there for you guys to see. That's crazy work, crazy stuff. But kudos to them. Even without Armor's points, we remove all Armor skills. They still win the MPL. I thought I should just put that in again. Let me just hit the nail on the head. But great stuff from all of these teams. Congratulations to the boys from XTC, 3C, and 14th for doing quite well for themselves and getting themselves a chunk of that prize pool. And also congratulations to Arma too as well. Great stuff from them. Okay, so you've seen it all, guys. It has been an amazing tournament, and the boys from XTC did hold their spot in that number one and made sure that they grabbed the title and the winners of this split right here. But regardless, 3C and 14 Gaming were battling it out, and they showed us a bit and a glimpse of what's to come pretty soon. And some other notable teams too as well, who gave us some great gameplays. Of course, Neon was doing quite well. They came back into the tournament. I felt like they started off really slow, and in future tournaments, if they continue up with that momentum, they could be a lot better. But kudos to them. For now, it is bye bye from all of us from 10 and 8E, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.